Chap 2081. Chen Shang looked at the blazing sun in the sky, and it was almost noon. He said, "It seems that the Heavenly Divine Palace's assessment is mainly about potential, and only people with great potential have value in nurturing them." The old man did not agree with Chen Zhang's words. "If what you say is true, then wouldn't I, the old man, be hopeless? I am working very hard, and I believe that I will definitely be able to join the Heavenly Divine Palace." Quote. Chen Shang also didn't know what the Heavenly Divine Palace had done to make so many people want to join their ranks. Hard work is also a type of potential. Chen Shang laughed. "Old senior, if you are really willing to work hard, then you still have a lot of potential." The old man laughed. "Young man, you look different from the others. Are you a disciple of a famous sect?" It sounds like he's talking in an enigmatic manner. When noon arrived, the people at the front of the door all shouted. Chen Shang and the old man looked over, only to see the door's enchantment suddenly flash, turning into a light gold color, and everyone rushed in. "I'll go in first. I'll wait for you at the second stage." When the old man saw this group of young people charging around like mad bulls, he shook his head and quickly walked over. Chen Shang could feel a faint energy fluctuation on the old man's body, as though he was controlling the mysterious power on his body to tremble slightly. Just like this, he very easily stepped into the faint golden light curtain and entered the wide plaza. Chen Shang also walked over. The barrier was indeed much weaker now. He had only used a little of his spatial energy to get past the translucent barrier. Old man Han can easily enter because he has tried many times, but who is this kid? I've been here for so long, but I've never seen him before. Could it be that he went in the first time? A middle-aged man said. Everyone looked at Chen Zhang's back and started to discuss. What made Chen Shang even more baffled was that only he and old man Han had entered. No one else was able to enter, and he didn't know how great the resistance of the light screen was either. When he entered, he couldn't feel it at all. "You really came in." Old man Han saw that Chen Shang was following him and was still surprised, because he had tried many times before to get in. He thought that no matter how strong Chen Shang was, he would have to be hit a few times, yet Chen Shang just casually walked in like he was walking normally. Chen Shang only smiled, and then asked, "Senior, what is the second round of examination?" "The second test is to go to that mountain. There will be a lot of obstacles along the way." The old man pointed to a tall mountain on the left. "You can pass by a house at the foot of the mountain." So easy. Chen Shang saw that the mountain was not too far away. He would be able to reach there after a while using the space wind. It's not easy at all. There will be a lot of people blocking the way, all of them are array traps. Occasionally, there will be some beasts or even some plants that can be used to harass people. The old man shook his head and smiled bitterly. As long as they passed through the forest, they would be able to reach the foot of the mountain. Chen Shang had just tested it a moment ago and could feel that space wind. "When can we start?" Chen Shang asked. "I can start now, but I need to make some preparations. This is the 15th time I've successfully entered." The old man sighed. Chen Shang asked, "Senior, where exactly is the Heavenly Divine Lord attracting you?" The old man was surprised. "Don't tell me you didn't know when you came. What exactly are you here for?" Quote. Chen Shang scratched his head and laughed. "I was just passing by, and then I planned to come in to take a look." "So what's so good about Heavenly Divine Lord? You are an outsider, you definitely can't understand. We grew up in this region, and the sudden appearance of this Heavenly Divine Palace caused this originally barren land to become so lively. Furthermore, there's a dragon vein here, and that's enough to attract many people," the old man said. Chen Shang nodded his head. The Heavenly Divine Palace did not need to do much. Just the change here was enough to make many fear the strength of the Heavenly Divine Palace. "Then I'll take my leave. Senior, you must work hard." Chen Shang smiled at the old man, then used the space wind and disappeared. The old man was shocked by Chen Shang. He immediately looked around and did not see any more signs of Chen Shang. Chen Shang had already entered the forest, and in the blink of an eye, he had already passed through the forest and arrived at the small hut below the mountain that the old man had mentioned before. "It's you." On the stone table in front of the hut, a woman was eating. This woman was really Zhu Hanru's good sister, Chu Yunwei. "Big sister Yunwei," Chen Shang sweetly shouted, with a gentle smile on her face, "did I disturb you?" Chu Yunwei looked at the sun and the sky and said with a bit of surprise, "It's only noon and I've already cleared 2 stages. Hee hee, if you weren't powerful, you wouldn't have been able to save us." Quote. You must be here to look for the great divine lord, you can just go straight up the mountain. Chu Yunwei pointed to a mountain road. Thank you, big sister Yunwei. After Chen Shang expressed his thanks, he immediately walked toward the mountain road. If you see little Jumei and Yujia, tell them to find me when they have time to play. I will be able to hear your shouts outside the door. Chu Yunwei warned Chen Shang. Chen Shang responded, then used the space wind to go up the mountain. This guy is getting more and more familiar with the use of spatial energy. Chu Yunwei mumbled to himself as he continued to eat her food. Chen Shang quickly reached the summit. There was only a small hut here, but the great divine lord actually lived in such a simple place. He stood at the summit of the mountain and looked at his surroundings, discovering that there were a lot of green mountains that were not too tall, and not too short either. Chen Shang looked towards the door of the hut and saw a middle-aged man smiling as he walked out. He then pointed to a wooden table at the entrance. Sit. There were so many grand buildings here, but he decided to stay here for other reasons. He suspected that these green mountains all had a channel that linked them to the dragon vein, allowing them to quickly absorb the energy inside the deep dragon vein. This new heavenly divine lord is pretty good, said. Great divine lord also took out something to entertain Chen Shang, just like old friends meeting each other. Great divine lord laughed. It's just that there are too few people, do you have any suggestions? Right now, there were more middle and strong great divine lords, but they did not have any new blood, which was why they needed to recruit disciples with potential. I suggest that you go to the 9 Heaven School and the bosses of the devil-killing divine city secretly. You can borrow a few people from them or form an alliance inside. Chen Shang said. Chapter 2082, Currently, Heavenly Divine Palace lacked young and promising disciples, but there were a lot of such disciples in 9 Heaven School and devil-killing divine city. On the other hand, 9 Heaven School and devil-killing divine city lacked experts with upper and middle strength, causing many disciples to not be able to receive the best guidance. On the other hand, many of Heavenly Divine Palace's upper class and powerful antiques, they could really complement each other. After Chen Shang briefly told Great Divine Lord about the situation between 9 Heaven School and himself, the Great Divine Lord also nodded, indicating that he would definitely come into contact with the 9 Heaven School and ask about the matter of the alliance. Great Divine Lord, I came here to ask you if you have these materials for refining weapons. Chen Shang took out a list, on which was written the ingredients needed to refine the pill furnace. When Great Divine Lord saw it, he laughed, you must be refining a pill furnace. I am currently lacking a good pill furnace, and my wife just so happened to find the blueprint from the divine book passed down by your 9 brothers. She is lacking in materials. Chen Shang said. I have all of these. Great Divine Lord immediately took out 3 storage bags. Take these ingredients. If you successfully refine the pill furnace, you must show them to me. I want to know how much of that divine book your wife has in her possession. Your wife is too incredible, she can even refine a pill furnace of that level herself. She's not the only one, there are a few, Chen Shang said. Great Divine Lord only laughed, he obviously understood what Chen Shang meant. Yu Jia came to find me. She is currently in the process of refining pills, and she needs a good pill furnace as well, so I will give you a lot of ingredients. When the time comes, use them well. The reason why our divine nations of the 9th heaven rose in power all those years ago was mainly because of the powerful alchemist. Chen Shang nodded her head. This was also the reason why Feng Yuji wanted to walk down the pill Dao, it was because she had inherited one of the 9 divine kings' pill refining skills from the past. Great Divine Lord, when exactly is this 9 heaven world going to devour Super God Realm? Chen Shang asked. The Super God Realm has a lot of resources, but if the 9 heaven world were to take over the Super God Realm now, facing the strong warriors and powerful beasts of the Super God Realm, we are still very weak. Once it is annexed, it will be difficult for the 9 heaven world to be destroyed in the future. If it develops smoothly, in the future, it will become a strong and prosperous world. If you establish a relationship with other powerful worlds, then the development will be even faster. Great Divine Lord said. As far as I know, the rules of the Star Law Divine Realm are pretty good. When the time comes, I'll go pay a visit to the Star Law Divine Realm and see if I can establish a transmission array with them. Other than the Star Law Divine Realm, is there any other world? Chen Shang asked. Because the powerhouses in charge of the Star Law Divine Realm wanted to live forever and kill undead divine race, they had left a very bad impression on Chen Shang. It's just that we don't understand them as we do. The one closest to us is the Star Law Divine Realm. Of course, we don't necessarily just establish a relationship with the Star Law Divine Realm. When that time comes, the Star Law Divine Realm will become our stepping stone, and we will be able to understand other powerful worlds through the Star Law Divine Realm. Then, we can learn from their experiences and develop our world. The Great Divine Lord said, it's still too early to say all these. First, the Nine Heaven world has to swallow the Super God realm and then develop it peacefully for a period of time. Quote, with the threat of the Nine Gods nation, this gave the Great Divine Lord a headache, and the Heavenly Divine Lord who had wanted to do this had been annihilated by the Nine Gods nation's Divine Lord, which resulted in this world becoming a slowly growing world even though there was the powerful Divine Lord. Great Divine Lord, do you understand the matters above Nine Gods nation now? Chen Shang was more interested in the matters above. I know a bit, but I'm quite concerned about it right now. Because once the upper management stabilizes, they will start to deal with me. 9 Divine Kings laughed out loud. I am their old rival. Right now, the more optimistic thing is that Divine Lord and some old fellows will be leaving together. Although their lives won't be long, they aren't willing to die like this, so they have to look for their path to longevity. Quote, speaking to here, Great Divine Lord sighed, because he knew that he would soon be on this path as well. No matter how powerful they were, they couldn't withstand the ravages of time. Many experts who had reached the peak of their power, unable to break through, had died this way. Then I'll leave first, I'm still in a hurry to go back. Chen Shang laughed. My wife has always been worried about the lack of materials. If she knew that there was so much, she would definitely be very happy. Great Divine Lord nodded his head. These few days, I have also collected some things about you. You are indeed my amazing little ghost. The Great Divine Lord immediately opened a spatial tunnel, allowing Chen Shang to come to the side of a city. The next time he came, he would just have to shout for Chu Yunwei at the door. It was already afternoon when he returned to Hundreds of Flowers village. Lu Meng'er, Shui Shenxian and the other 3 were in the courtyard handling the materials that had been smelted in the furnace. You're back so soon. Any gains? Shui Shenxian asked as she controlled a piece of refining material that had fused into a liquid and put it into the jar. It looked to be extremely difficult, as the ball of liquid also emitted a purple flame and gave off a very high heat. Chen Shang walked over and wiped off the sweat on her forehead and laughed. Of course there is, and there's even a lot of it. You guys will be busy in the future. If you have time, go find Sister Feng and the others and ask them what kind of pill furnaces they need. Great Divine Lord gave me a lot of ingredients, so I can make a few. Quote, Lu Meng'er said, Shang Yu told us before, they need a large-scale pill furnace, they also want to learn from our method of smelting together. In other words, a few people's minds were linked and they would simultaneously control a pill furnace to concoct pills together. This was the case for and the others when refining. This way, they would be able to refine many things that were difficult to refine without being too strong. They all cultivate heavenly alchemy to refine pills, I think they will definitely work together well. Dongfang Xinyue said. And they also have more people than us, on their side are Shang Yu, Qianchen, Mei Yao, Jiling'er, Hong Sha and Feng Yujie. Right, there's also another Yan Yao. Quote, Jiling'er and Red Cloud. Chen Shang was a little surprised, they can refine pills now too. Of course they can, weren't they Sister Feng's goddaughters before? Yan Yao and Yu are both Sister Feng's goddaughters now, eh? Dongfang Xinyue giggled. Lu Meng'er said, at that time, I will go and find them to have a talk. According to their needs, I will refine a good great pill furnace for them. Just now, Big Sister Violet Orchid came. She said that she has something to discuss with you. She probably wants to talk about the selection competition. Shui Shenxian received the storage bag that Chen Shang handed over, and patted his face while laughing. Don't hit Yulan and Chen Xiang too hard, or else this girl will complain to me. Chapter 2083. Chen Shang participating in the competition was also to see the strength of Leng Yulan and Mu Chenxiang. He had also heard that Yun Xiaodao and the others participated as well, so it was not bad to have a match with these old friends of his. I know how to act. Chen Shang would obviously not harm Leng Yulan and her, these were her sisters. When Chen Shang arrived at the 100 Flowers Pavilion, he found that Yan Zilan had something he needed to talk to him about. It seemed to be an urgent matter. Sister Zilan, isn't the competition still a few days away? When Chen Shang arrived at the top of 100 Flowers Pavilion, Yan Zilan was already waiting for him in the hall. Yes, there are still a few more days. I just found out about some of the competition's specific details. I'll tell you first so that you can prepare. Yan Zilan took out a small booklet. All of them are registrants. When the time comes, we will draw lots to decide our opponents. Chen Shang took the booklet and looked through it, and as expected, he saw Yun Xiaodao and a few other familiar names. Yanren and Lan Lan are not participating. Chen Shang laughed. Could it be that your hundreds of flowers village only sent you Lan and Chen Xiang? Chen Shang said. Yanren and Lan Lan are not interested in any of this. If you look again, you should be able to see a familiar name. Yan Zilan laughed. Our hundreds of flowers village has sent 4 disciples, and 2 of them are not human. Not human? Chen Shang immediately thought of Yun Zhu and Bai Xing, and said, could it be Yun Zhu and Bai Xing? I haven't seen them in a long time. Are they all right? Quote. Of course they are, but they are all out on missions. Last time, I contacted them and said that you're back. They really wanted to come back and see you immediately. Yan Zilan laughed. The 2 of them are not participating in the selection either. Chen Shang flipped through the booklet, and suddenly saw 2 very familiar names. Ji Meixiane and Shui Ying. Quote. Shui Ying was that phoenix princess who was taken in by LV Kilian as a disciple. Even if it was the phoenix princess, she is of the same race as the beautiful fairy, so her strength is also equally matched. Yun Zhu, Bai Xing, the 2 of them and little Lizzie are a small team, so they are very efficient in what they do. Yan Zilan suddenly laughed. Little Lizzie doesn't have a good impression of you, but I can see that she truly respects you from the bottom of her heart. I heard from Kilian that you often take liberties with little Lizzie, and want to make him your wife. Quote. They're all just joking. Chen Shang burst into laughter. Although little Lizzie was a spoiled Xiaolinglong, she was very spicy and looked like chili, but once she peeled off that piece of lychee skin, she couldn't wait to put it in her mouth. Chen Shang felt that he had never been able to peel off that layer successfully. Right now, only Shui Ying and the beautiful goddess have returned to participate in this competition. Little Lizzie's group is still outside. Yan Zilan said. When the time comes, it would be extremely possible for you to face Shui Ying and the beautiful goddess on the stage, hee. Chen Shang said. Don't worry, I won't hurt them. The preliminaries are originally all done by our own people. I also want to try my best to get a place in the competition. Hell Devil Emperor and the others have made such a condition, so they must have full confidence in winning. Maybe they even borrowed a strong helper from the divine nations. Quote. Yan Zilan nodded his head. Right now, the 4 of them are undergoing their final training. I heard that the ones in charge of training them are you and your sister Ziqian. If they are the instructors, then I will have to be careful when the time comes. He understood Bai Yu and Bai Ziqian very well. Both of them dared to lay a hand on Bai Ziqian, and they were a little bit demonic in nature. What about you? Are you that confident that you're not prepared? Yan Zilan chuckled. To be honest, I also want to see how miserable you got being beaten up by your 2 younger sisters. Chen Shang said snappily. So even you don't think well of me. But you will definitely be disappointed. I am so powerful now, even if the 2 of them are working together, the ones in a sorry state will definitely be them. Quote. Anyone can brag. Yan Zilan chuckled. But don't worry, they temporarily won't know about you participating in the selection, so when you're undergoing training, there won't be any training aimed at you. The sky had already darkened. Chen Shang rushed to the training room and repeatedly practiced his strongest moves. Not only did he need to prepare for the competition, he also needed to prepare to fight against Hell Devil Emperor, so he needed to grab some time to practice. After a few days, Chen Shang had already been notified that he would be going to the city lord's mansion to gather tomorrow morning. These few days, he had been asking Yan Zilan whether or not his team of pill refining was free, and he really wanted to see Hua Shangyu and Su Meiyao, the 2 goblins. They are still concocting pills. They are all going to rest for a period of time and then undergo closed-door training to refine a period of time. Right now, it seems that they are both refining low and medium-grade divine pellets, which also requires a very long time. Yan Zilan said. They are considered to be the foundation of the hundreds of flowers village. The pills they provide can help us become stronger even faster. Yuaa flew in. She had just come from hundreds of flowers village. Isn't Bing Yan coming? Chen Shang asked. It was already night, and the competition was starting tomorrow morning. No, she and Big Sis Long spend all their time discussing cultivation. Sometimes, they go into closed-door cultivation very late. Yuaa replied, she might be coming to watch your match tomorrow. I've mentioned this to her before. Yan Zilan hugged Yuaa. and said with a tender smile, "Uaa, sleep with me tonight, I'll go to City Lord's mansion with you tomorrow. While you're at it, tell me about this little scoundrel in the super god realm." Quote. All right. Uaa was extremely willing as she rubbed her small head against Yan Zilan's soft chest. Chen Shang curled his lips, and returned to his room to rest. In the middle of the night, Chen Shang suddenly woke up. He was a little nervous, because he thought that the people fighting with him were his old friends and sister, and he had just returned from Super God Realm. In comparison to the time he had here, he had lost a lot of time. On the other hand, Yun Xiaodao and the others had to cultivate for many years using dragon veins and various pellets before they could gain the strength of 6 divine deity. By then, he would definitely not be weak. And Leng Yulin had white dragon vein, adding on the Dao Heart Stone that Shui Bingyan provided her with, it was possible that she had already grasped the laws of ice, and her strength was even more unfathomable. What Mu Chenxiang received was the Sword Emperor's legacy, and since Wang Jinshi was the Sword God's daughter, he would definitely teach her a lot. Chen Shang felt that Wang Jinshi would definitely guide them along with Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian. Xiao Dao and the others are also very powerful, with devil-killing heavenly god and penalty heavenly god's guidance, and the sword god who controls the god-murdering sword techniques is also in the 9 Heaven School. Before, Black Dragon and Black Turtle had also been in 9 Heaven School for a while. They had only met up with the White Tiger in Super God Realm for a short period of time. When Chen Shang thought of all these, he was really a little worried in the depths of his heart. It was just like Wu Kaming had said, it would not be good if his mighty name was destroyed. Junior brother. Just as Chen Shang was thinking, there were people knocking on his door, and only Wang Jinshi would call him junior brother. He quickly got up and opened the door, and sure enough, he saw Wang Jinshi. Chapter 2084. It was still half the night, and Wang Jinshi and the others were already here. It was still half the night, and Wang Jinshi and the others were already here. Sister Yuyu, Sister Ziqian A. When Chen Shang saw the cold and frosty witch dressed in a black dress, he was elated. This was because he had rarely seen the two sisters together in the past few years. In the past, Chen Shang had already felt that Bai Yuyu's demonic chi was heavy, but now, compared to Bai Ziqian, she could be considered normal. Bai Ziqian's purple eyes and the poison hook at the end of her ponytail made her look extremely dangerous. Coupled with her cold and elegant expression and ice-cold eyes that were filled with killing intent, it made people feel terrified. Bai Yuyu nodded her head slightly. Even though she still looked cold, the way she looked at Chen Shang was filled with gentleness and happiness. She was able to tell that she was very happy to see Chen Shang again after such a long time. Chen Shang anxiously walked out of the hall and smiled. Shui Ying, fairy beauty, long time no see, I never thought that you two enemies are together now, you look quite like sisters. Ji Meixian was once Chen Zhang's female slave and was originally an extremely cold and arrogant woman. However, she was hit by Chen Shang a few times, and as time passed, she became extremely respectful to Chen Shang. She was Evans and Bai Ziqian's cousin. What Chen Shang did not understand was that although Ji Meixian was his cousin, he could still participate in the competition. Because the competition required 6 divine deity, and Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian had more than 6 divine deity. Sister Yuyu, are you not going to participate? Chen Shang looked at Bai Yuyu and the other two in charge of training. It's not suitable for me and my sister. Bai Yuyu replied. We are not suitable for a battle, we are only suitable to kill. The corner of Chen Zhang's eyes twitched. After so many years of not seeing him, this Bai Yuyu was still as murderous as ever. Wang Jinshi laughed. I am now at the 7th divine deity level, otherwise I would have gone to join in the fun. They did not know that Chen Shang had also participated in the competition. Although Yan Zilan and the others knew about it, Chen Shang had instructed them not to let Leng Yulin and Mu Chenxiang know about it. Ji Meixian smiled faintly at Chen Shang. Chen Shang, I remember you are a very combative person. Are you not participating as well? Just as Chen Shang was thinking about how to answer, Yan Zilan and Yue walked out from their room. Chen Shang hastily sent a sound transmission to them, telling them not to spread the news about him participating in the competition, because he wanted to give Leng Yulin a pleasant surprise. Phoenix. And there's even the undying bird. Although she had heard about the relationship between Ji Meixian and his family, she had never seen them before. Chen Shang suddenly thought of something, the phoenix could be reborn, and the undying bird would also be reborn. This might have something to do with the undead divine race. Little kitty, you're so awesome. You can see our main bodies directly. Shui Ying was a phoenix princess, but a very pure phoenix flame. She is Yuei, the mysterious kitten that Bing Yan mentioned. The mischievous Leng Yulan grabbed Yuei and began to tickle her, causing her to giggle non-stop. Shui Ying, where's your father? Chen Shang asked. The strength of the Phoenix King was not bad, he should be very strong by now. He was taken away by a senior many years ago. I don't know where he went. Shui Ying shook her head. She was initially surrounded and attacked by the young disciples of many forces and was almost sullied. It was Chen Shang who saved her, so she had a good impression of Chen Shang. After that, she joined the Hundreds of Flowers Palace and became LV Kilian's disciple. After she and Mu Chenxiang became sect sisters, she got a better understanding of Chen Shang and knew some of his romantic affairs. Chen Shang was sitting on a chair, trembling as he watched Leng Yulan and Mu Chenxiang teasing Yuei, when he suddenly felt a burst of cold air pressing on him. Bai Ziqian had actually come behind him. Chen Shang remembered that Bai Ziqian had obtained the legacy of an ancient poison god king back then, and grasped an extremely terrifying ancient poison. That was why he had been captured by the combined forces of the various powers. Sister Ziqian, sit down. Chen Shang felt that he was extremely uneasy seeing Bai Ziqian standing behind him despite her close proximity. He was extremely afraid of this poisonous woman, because she was not like LV Qinlian, who was a gentle and lovable spirit. What are you afraid of? Could it be that I will poison you? Bai Ziqian found it funny, but she did not laugh out loud. I just wanted to ask you, did you encounter any poison in Super God Realm? No, if there were, I would have given it to you a long time ago. Sister Ziqian, you have received the inheritance of the ancient poison god king, so the poison you have now should be very terrifying. Chen Shang laughed dryly. I'm worried that even I won't be able to defend against your poison. Bai Yuyu said. You don't have to be afraid of big sister, she's currently very good at controlling her poison. I have been with her for so long, but nothing like this has happened either. Leng Yulan teased from the side. If old brother is dishonest, then you must have some tricks towards Sister Ziqian, for sure. If you want to try and see if you still have impenetrable towards big sister Ziqian, you better tell her directly, don't take liberties with her. Quote. Little girl, am I, your brother, that kind of person? Chen Shang rolled his eyes at her. I have never teased her before. Really? Bai Ziqian's voice chilled, causing the hearts of everyone present to feel a chill. They were all very surprised. Chen Shang had really taken liberties with Bai Ziqian before. They were clear that Chen Shang was such a pervert, they didn't expect him to be so reckless. I think so. I don't remember too well. Chen Shang was also shocked by Bai Ziqian. As expected, the inheritance of the ancient poison god king had become extremely frightening. The corner of Bai Ziqian's mouth raised slightly, and this faint smile made her look extremely charming and beautiful. Bai Yuyu, who was sitting by the side, saw that Chen Shang was so frightened that his face paled and he couldn't help but chuckle softly. Brat, you don't seem to have the courage you used to have. Bai Ziqian's slender and jade-like hands suddenly caressed Chen Zhang's face. Her actions looked extremely charming, and she was actually teasing Chen Shang. Chen Shang took a small breath and said, I suddenly have something to ask you. Who do you think will be the one to obtain the 3 spots? You have 4 girls participating. No one replied him. All of the girls watched as Bai Ziqian's delicate hands caressed Chen Zhang's cheeks and neck. They didn't know why Bai Ziqian would do such a thing. Chen Shang knew that Bai Ziqian was testing his impenetrable physique to see if he could resist this kind of teasing. It's pretty amazing, my poison doesn't seem to be very effective against you. Bai Ziqian retracted his hand, and said with slightly creased brows, but you don't need to be too pleased, the poison that I used just now was only my weakest, and I do not dare to test you with poison that is too strong. Chapter 2085, Chen Shang was also sweating profusely. This was an extremely terrifying ancient poison, and one that came from a divine king. If something unexpected happened, he wouldn't be able to participate in the competition. Sister Ziqian, how strong is your strongest poison? Chen Shang sighed a breath of relief and asked. I don't know, I rarely use my most powerful poison against enemies. Bai Ziqian shook his head, but it's hard to say in the future. Right now, many people know that I'm in the Hundreds of Flowers village. Yuei replied, what are you afraid of? Divine Nations has used too much poison, it's not any weaker than yours. From what I know, there are a few Divine Nations who specialize in nurturing powerful poison kings, and they are openly using them. Of course, if you use this poison to harm the common people, then you will definitely be besieged. Quote, is there really a strong poison expert in the divine nations? Bai Ziqian was very interested in this. Of course, some guys are hard to kill, so you'll need to use poison. Uaa nodded her head. When I was surrounded that year, a few guys tried to poison me. Chen Shang was very clear about Uaa's background. He felt that Uaa must be very knowledgeable and should also be relatively knowledgeable in the field of poison, since she didn't say that he was poisoned. Yan Zilan yawned and said, what are you guys doing here so early? You should have a good rest and go participate in the tournament during the day. Isn't there a room here? We'll rest here for a while. Leng Yulin pulled Mu Chenxiang and walked towards a room and said, this room is big enough, there are still 2 beds, let's rest here. Ji Meixian and Shui Ying also walked over and brought out 2 beds. Bai Ziqian and Bai Yuyu also walked in. After the few girls returned to their room, Chen Shang touched the place where Bai Ziqian touched him before, and after taking a whiff, there was actually a faint fragrance remaining. This woman really used poison on me, this poisonous scent is quite powerful. Chen Shang currently could not feel the poison enter his body, but he could discern it from the stimulation from the fragrance that was on his nose. I smell it. Uaa also flew over and sniffed at Chen Zhang's face. Wah, this poison is a kind of flower poison, it can be found in the Star Law Divine Realm, but it's very rare, and can be considered a very terrifying poison, even goddess would find it very easy to poison. Yu was surprised. This woman is really scary. However, you aren't lazy either. She isn't poisoned. Chen Shang frowned. It's very strange, since even the Star Law Divine Realm rarely sees poisons, why does Sister Ziqian have them? She should have been raised based on the legacy of the ancient poison god, and many of the poisonous creatures were transformed under certain conditions. Yu said. I'm going to rest too. Chen Shang had already sent them a sound transmission saying that he should not spread the news of him participating in the competition. Returning to his room, Chen Shang didn't think of anything and entered into sleep. It wasn't until he felt something that looked like hair on his face, causing him to suddenly wake up, that Chen Shang, who was being mischievous, began to use the ends of his hair to tease him. Stupid girl. Chen Shang immediately reached out to pinch her beautiful face, and pinched a piece of her cheek. Leng Yulin also hurriedly reached out her hands to pinch his face, then laid on his body. Brother, we haven't kissed in a long time, I don't remember the last time, but I still remember that feeling. Chen Shang looked at the door, it was already closed by Leng Yulin, and the sky was just starting to brighten. Girl, Ua, Chen Shang snickered in annoyance, I'll kiss you, don't you dare spout nonsense. Leng Yulin nodded, closed her eyes, and slightly lifted her small mouth. Very quickly, she had a taste of that feeling. Chen Shang had gone to City Lord's mansion with them on the carriage, and when they arrived, they were called to a place to draw lots because they were women, which would determine who their opponents were. After Chen Shang came to this place, he said that he wanted to meet his old friend, and then disappeared without a trace. He quietly ran to the place where the lots were drawn. There were not many people participating in the competition, only 70 or 80 of them, and all of them were outstanding disciples from cities or powers that had allied with Nine Heaven School. It was not that Nine Heaven School and Devil-Killing Divine City participated the most, other forces participated the majority. Elder Brother Shen, what are you doing here? When Yun Xiaodao saw Chen Shang, he was a little surprised. At first, he thought that Chen Shang would come to draw lots, but after thinking about it, he felt that Chen Shang should not come to participate. Has the drawing of lots begun? Chen Shang looked around furtively, as if he was afraid that someone might find out. You want to participate? Duan Sanchang asked in surprise. Chen Shang nodded. Don't tell Yulan and the other girls that I'm going to give them a surprise. Then I won't participate. With you here, not only will I not be able to win, I'll even be beaten. Duan Sanchang acted as if he was sure that Chen Shang would win, and he was even a little afraid of him. XV Weilong nodded his head. I will not participate either, I was originally not interested in that matter, and was only called over by Clan Elder Wu. Zhu Rong laughed, it's a hole in the ground, you old fool. You all are really cowardly, is Chen Shang really that strong? Quote. Duan Sanchang curled his lips and said, it's precisely because he doesn't look strong that he's scary. You're not underestimating him, are you? Old pig, your brain has always been pretty good. Zhu Rong said, today's competition has its limits. I don't think Chen Shang has much of a chance of victory, so what if he has bones? His bones can only be unleashed with great power, so his control over it ought to be a little weaker than his divine deity. Quote. Yun Xiaodao laughed. Old pig, I hope that you can draw lots to fight with Chen Shang. That way, you can clearly understand Chen Zhang's true strength. Duan Sanchang also laughed. At that time, even if your pig head gets beaten into a cow's head, I am not certain. Chen Shang smiled faintly. Don't praise me anymore, I'm actually not that strong. I just want to give you Lan and Chen Xiang a pleasant surprise. I haven't taken much care of them in years, so even if I lose badly and destroy the good guys, I don't think it's a big deal. Quote. Zhu Rong laughed out loud and said, you really are a good brother. Your two violent little sisters are indeed frightening, and even I think that I only have a 60% chance of winning against them. XV Weilong said, Old pig, did you pick up some super divine pellet? Why are you so confident today? I have always been so confident. Don't you think that after all these years, if I didn't have any ability, I would have been able to survive till now? Don't you see, when we were training together, didn't the danger we met with dissolve due to my calmness and confidence? Zhu Rong took out a large roasted leg, and took a large bite. I'm going to eat a big meal first, only then will I have strength to fight. Wu Kaming came and shouted, Little devils, quickly come and test how many divine deity you have. This is to prevent the people from the 7 divine deity from sneaking in. Chapter 2086. Chen Shang never thought that he would actually have to test how many divine deity he had. Right now, he was very curious about how Wu Kaming had tested, and most people only knew how strong the aura exuded from each person's body was, but he could only make a very vague guess, and could not accurately determine how many divine deity they had. Wu Kaming glanced at Chen Shang and smiled at him. Then, he took out a large black ball and placed it on the ground. Elder Wu, how do you figure out how many divine deity are there? This test is definitely not accurate. If we were to meet a fellow with 7 divine deity, wouldn't we be at a disadvantage? He was very worried about this problem because he was very confident in his own strength. However, it was difficult for him to win against the 7 divine deity, so he was very concerned about this test. Wu Kaming laughed. Don't worry, the test results are very accurate. We have tested it many times, and at the same time, we are also testing the people from the Hell Devil Emperor. At that time, Hell Devil Emperor will also take out something similar to this to test us. Quote. Under Wu Kaming's urging, everyone started to queue up to take the test. There was a pit at the side of the black ball that was just large enough to fit one's head inside. The moment the top of the head touched the hole, the finger-sized holes on the ball would light up with white light. There were a few holes that would light up with divine deity. What Chen Shang did not expect was that there were actually 5 divine deity participants participating in the selection as well, and it wasn't just one person. He had thought that other than himself, the others would all belong to the 6 divine deity. Yun Xiaodao and the others were together, with Chen Shang standing right in the middle of them. Yun Xiaodao had 6 divine deities, 6 holes in his body, and then, it was Zhu Rong's turn. Duan Sanchang and XV Weilong had already decided not to participate. They were originally behind Chen Shang, but now they walked out of the line. Have you improved at all these days? Wu Kaming sent a sound transmission to Chen Shang, because previously, Chen Shang only had 4 divine deity. No, little Baldy, you don't have to worry about me. When the time comes, I will definitely surprise you. However, there was one thing that was more strange, that was that the white light coming from one of the holes was extremely dazzling. All the people who tested had never seen such a bright hole before, so one could tell that Chen Shang had an exceptionally strong divine deity. This divine deity was the 4th divine deity that Chen Shang had condensed not long ago. He knew that this divine deity was very strong, but he did not expect it to appear on the test treasure. The light is very strong. Wu Kaming was also secretly surprised in his heart. He and Ji Yu Dongchen had used this test method to test themselves, but they had never used such a bright hole like Chen Zhang's. In other words, Chen Zhang's divine deity was much stronger than their own. Chen Shang also felt that it was strange, even though his 4th divine deity was strong, it shouldn't be brighter than in Supreme God. Everyone was rather curious about the identity Chen Shang had given them. They knew Yun Xiaodao and Zhu Rong, and some were in the same squad as them. Only had 4 divine deity, but they were very familiar with him. After the exam, there weren't any 7 divine deity. This made Wu Kaming feel relieved and said, let's begin the drawing of lots. Although all the people here are men, they will still compete with the women here. Quote. As long as you get the same number, you'll be an opponent. Wu Kaming took out a box that had also been specially refined. Everyone started to queue up for the lot. Every lot had a number written on them. After drawing the lot, Wu Kaming would register for it, then see if the two people got the same number. It only took a short while to finish, and Chen Shang received lot number 13. Are you really number 13? Zhu Rong opened his eyes wide. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? Seeing Zhu Rong's expression, Chen Shang knew that he had obtained number 13. He never thought that he would be able to fight Zhu Rong in his first match. With so many familiar faces participating in the competition, it was very normal for them to meet each other at the start. It was just that Chen Shang was more interested in fighting Leng Yulin or Mu Chenxiang first. Old pig, you must have been scared to the point of peeing. Yun Xiaodao laughed. Little Yun, don't look down on me, I'm not afraid. I'm just a bit sorry that I didn't match up to you, so that I could beat you until you cried. Zhu Rong was really not afraid at all. He even patted Chen Zhang's shoulder and said, I'm sorry, I had to kill you in the first round. Leave the matter of teaching your two barbaric little sisters to me. Oh right, little Yun, you better not get killed in the first round, or else don't walk together with me from now on. Zhu Rong laughed out loud. But you don't have to worry, your luck has always been good, you should be able to get by. Yun Xiaodao snorted, old pig, I admit that you do have some power, but I still have to tell you, we have all witnessed how powerful elder brother Shen has always been. I suggest that you use your strongest power to fight against him from the start, otherwise, don't you dare find excuses when you lose. Quote. Seeing that the two of them were about to argue, Duan Sanchang walked over and laughed, old Xie, do you want us to bet a bit? Let's see who wins. I bet on my victory. Chen Shang laughed. I will also bet on elder brother Shen. Yun Xiaodao also laughed. Wait seeing that you guys are betting on Chen Shang, then I won't participate, let's see how you guys play. Zhu Rong hastily interrupted them. With Chen Shang here, I normally won't participate in the gambling house. How about this, we bet on little Yun being able to make it to the second round. I can't bet, but 100,000 Shen Yuan stone. Quote. Old pig, I bet 1,000,000 yuan that I can make it through the first round. When that time comes, can you afford it? Yun Xiaodao was also very confident. Of course I can afford it. Zhu Rong said. He did not think highly of Yun Xiaodao. This made Chen Shang feel that it was strange. Zhu Rong and Yun Xiaodao had been together for a long time, so he should know Yun Xiaodao's strength very clearly. At this time, Wu Kaming also took out a large piece of paper, placing it in front of them. Chen Shang and the others who saw it from afar immediately found their names. Ha, little Yun, your opponent is the young disciple of the penalty heavenly god, you're finished. Zhu Rong laughed out loud. Chen Shang also saw that Yun Xiaodao's opponent was called Wang Jing. Amongst the crowd, there were also a pair of eyes looking over. It was a skinny and lean man who had already walked over. Xiaodao, your opponent is me. Wang Jing smiled faintly. Although he was not very handsome, he gave people a very honest feeling. He bet $1 million that I could win, so Wang Jing, don't lose, or else not only would I not be able to earn that 1 million, I would even have to compensate him. Zhu Rong said. I bet $1 million, bet that I can win. If you lose, you can just give me 200,000. If you win, you can get my 1 million. Wang Jing was extremely confident in himself. All right, Yun Xiaodao nodded in agreement. It seemed that they all knew each other. Chapter 2087. Chen Shang looked at the piece of paper on the wall. Leng Yulin's and Mu Chenxiang's opponents were both men and they both had quite a background. It's starting. Let's go to the plaza. 10 fighting stages have been built there. Today, we will be selecting the spots. Wu Kaming shouted, you all should already know your corresponding stage, just go there and wait. Chen Shang was number 13, and corresponding to number 3, he would only be able to make it to the second round. Yun Xiaodao was number 7, he could go up right from the beginning, and Leng Yulin and Mu Chenxiang were also the first two. When they arrived at the large plaza inside the city lord's mansion, the group of girls were already there. Leng Yulin and the others already knew that Chen Shang was participating, but when they saw that Chen Shang did not say anything, they secretly rejoiced in their hearts. Although the lots in front were all drawn, they would definitely match later on. When Ji Meixian saw Chen Shang and Yun Xiaodao walking over, he frowned. Chen Shang, this guy really came. I have always hoped that everyone had the same surname. What's wrong with that? My brother doesn't have anything to be afraid of. Haven't you heard that you only spent a little time at Super God Realm's place? But we have been here for many years, and we have such a huge advantage in this aspect, we will definitely be able to beat him. Lang Yulan made a face at Chen Xiang from afar, sticking out her tongue. Mu Chenxiang laughed. Look at old pig, he is so calm, he is not afraid of me. But if old pig wins, wouldn't big brother be unable to go on to the next round? Quote. Yeah, old pig is pretty strong. Lang Yulan was also a little worried. She thought for a moment, then laughed. It's fine. Shui Ying chuckled. Why don't you think highly of Chen Xiang? Back then, he was a famous person here. Wasn't it rumored that he never did anything without confidence? He must be quite confident to be here. Quote. Chen Xiang walked over, and knocked on Lang Yulan and Mu Chenxiang's heads, and scolded, You two girls, you are getting more and more arrogant, to the point where you don't put me in your eyes anymore. Please do not give me the chance, otherwise I will definitely beat you up. It's not certain who will hit who. Mu Chenxiang touched the place where Chen Xiang was hitting, and laughed. Chen Xiang, did you test your divine deity? How many divine deity do you have? Wang Jinshi asked. Beside her, Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian were also very curious, waiting for his answer. Zhu Rong ran over and said, There are only 4 divine deities, they should be the ones with the least divine deity here today. Although he has the bones, he doesn't need to mind it. Really? Yan Zilin was a little surprised. She thought that Chen Xiang had at least 5 divine deities. Chen Xiang nodded. Actually it's not bad, if Chen Xiang had so much time with us, he would have been too godly by now. Zhu Rong said again. Everyone agreed with Zhu Rong's words. It was a good thing that Chen Xiang did not stay in the super god realm for long, otherwise the difference in time would have been even greater. Old pig, let my brother win. I want to fight him. Just as Lang Yulan finished speaking, Chen Xiang pinched her face and laughed. Yulan, all these years, you really have to discipline her properly. You don't have to worry. Even if we don't have a chance to fight today, I'll definitely fight you when we get back. Quote. Really? Great, you never wanted to fight us before. Lang Yulan was very happy. Now that everyone knew Chen Zhang's identity, they had obviously heard of him as an influential figure and he was previously a big shot in their hearts. They didn't think that he would participate in the selection with them today, and his divine deity was so low as well. Lang Yulan and Mu Chenxiang had already walked over, they were still trying to let Chen Xiang see their performance. Yun Xiaodao also walked up to stage 7. How strong is Wang Jing? Chen Xiang asked. He is the disciple of the penalty heavenly god, and received many legacies from the penalty heavenly god. He is also a genius and very young, and many people like the penalty heavenly god praise him. Wang Jinshi said. Previously, there were many people who secretly made various analyses and comparisons, and all of them felt that Wang Jing was stronger than Xiao Dao. Chen Xiang, do you really only have 4 divine deities? Bai Yuyu asked in a low voice. But I have bones. My bones is not as weak as Zhu Rong said. As for how strong I am, you will see for yourselves. Chen Xiang smiled faintly. Bones required 2 god to cultivate it to come out. Although Yun Xiaodao and the others had all eaten bone-level Dan before, they did not have the opportunity to condense bones, so they did not eat any more. After a long period of analysis, they came to the conclusion that the god could condense bones, which was why Zhu Rong believed that the god could use the power of bones. Duan Sanchang said, to be able to condense bones while under the supreme god is already an extremely difficult task. If it is to condense bones, then it means that Chen Xiang has a body foundation that is even better than ours. That's why old pig's thought was wrong. Even if Chen Xiang doesn't have bones, he would still be stronger than us. Because we are unable to condense bones. Quote. I look forward to it. XV Weilong said. The round had already started. Chen Xiang was more concerned about the fight between Yun Xiaodao and the 2. Penalty Heavenly God, Ji Yu Dongchen and the others were already here, and they were all watching. They wanted to see the battles amongst these disciples to the limit, to let them understand these disciples better, so that they could formulate a more suitable cultivation plan for them in the future. They all knew that Chen Xiang would be participating. As for whether or not he would be able to get one of the 3 places, they did not dare to make a decision. Yun Xiaodao was indeed very strong. His fists were like the power of a lightning bolt, and when he punched out, he only saw a streak of lightning, it was impossible to see his fists clearly. This is Wang Jing's Punisher Thunder Fist, he cultivates a lightning attribute mysterious power. If there is no formation to block him from the stage, each of his punches would shake the entire stage. Duan Sanchang said. During a battle, one could not use weapons, so this was a test of one's cultivation technique and foundation. In comparison to Yuan Xiaodao's fist techniques, he was much weaker. He used the power of thunder and fire, and it looked a little messy, but his movement skills were extremely good. He could easily avoid Wang Jing's fist attacks that were as fast as lightning. It was just that his clothes and flesh would occasionally get scratched, so he had suffered some light injuries. Although Yuan Xiaodao was dodging, he was also attacking non-stop. It was just that the power that he released when he punched was simply too weak when compared to Wang Jing's fist. The power of the fist, when facing Wang Jing's fist, was instantly shattered, and could not even touch Wang Jing's clothes. Chapter 2088. Many people present thought that Yuan Xiaodao would definitely lose, but when using the Dao Heart Eye, Chen Shang was able to see many things that others couldn't. Although Yuan Xiaodao had always been at a disadvantage, and had a few bruises on his body, and some parts of his body were even charred black by the berserk thunder power, his fist arts seemed to be disorderly, as if they were somewhat chaotic. However, Yuan Xiaodao's footsteps did not change. The mysterious power steadily rushed towards his fist. If Yuan Xiaodao was truly flustered, then the first thing that came into disorder was the trajectory of his mysterious power. Chen Shang could see all of these through the Dao Heart Eye. Yuan Xiaodao seemed to be at a disadvantage and looked to be in a state of panic, but he had always been very steady, much more steady than Wang Jing who was in front of him. Wang Jing always had a lot of mysterious power in the beginning. The ground was like a gushing spring that gushed out from his arms. It released an extremely strong thunder power energy. Indeed, the battle was very fierce, and it looked very scary, but behind it, when Wang Jing tried his best, a very weak and breathless situation appeared. It was when the mysterious power poured into his arms that it became strong, but the fist that needed to surge out suddenly became weaker, and then Wang Jing felt that its power was not enough, so he forced out another burst of energy to strengthen his fists. After realizing all of these, Chen Shang smiled slightly. After that, he realized that Chen Shang would use his strength very appropriately after a few battles with Chen Shang. At the same time, he would also use some tactics to exhaust the opponent's strength, making them feel that victory was right in front of them, allowing them to attack continuously. In the end, they would find an opening and then use a powerful attack. Facing an opponent who was slightly stronger than himself, he needed to do this even more. Little Yun is holding on. There are quite a few injuries on his body, and he received 2 punches just now. He should be holding in a mouthful of blood right now. Zhu Rong said. Had also seen it, but he realized that a wave of mysterious power was congealing in Yuan Xiaodao's abdomen and chest. The 2 punches just now had very accurately hit the 2 defensive energies that he had condensed. Seeing this, Chen Shang felt that Yuan Xiaodao had an 80% chance of defeating the opponent, because Wang Jing's tempo was already being controlled by Yuan Xiaodao. Yuan Xiaodao could even accurately lead Wang Jing to hit the areas on his body that he had prepared earlier. Chen Shang watched them seriously, to the point where he neglected Leng Yulin and Mu Chenxiang. They had already finished their battle and achieved victories, and when they came to Chen Zhang's side, Chen Shang did not even notice. Only the knife isn't finished. Leng Yulin said, he's pretty impressive, holding on till now. Another kick. Quote. I almost fell out, Mu Chenxiang said. Chen Shang had been using the Dao Heart Eye to observe the flow of energy in his and Wang Jing's body the entire time. He was carefully observing all the bones in his body, so he did not notice the passage of time. It's almost over. Chen Shang could clearly see that Wang Jing's mysterious power had shrunk a little, and Yuan Xiaodao had also accurately controlled his own mysterious power, causing his own mysterious power to weaken gradually. This made Wang Jing feel that the 2 of them were in the same situation of consumption, and had even deliberately taken 2 punches and a kick, making him feel that if this continued, Yuan Xiaodao would be defeated. Is Xiaodao going to lose? XB Weilong was also worried. He should be losing. He's already sweating, and he's even panting. Zhu Rong said. What a pity, I still want to compete with him. Leng Yulin sighed. Right now, it was already very obvious that Yuan Xiaodao was about to lose. No, Xiaodao will win. Chen Shang suddenly said. This. Impossible. Wang Jinshi anxiously said. Xiaodao relies on his own mystical footwork, but his leg was struck by Wang Jing's fist force just now. It seems like it will be difficult. Yan Zilin frowned. Chen Shang, why do you think Xiaodao will win? Did you see something we didn't see? Quote. Because Chen Shang had been watching them with rapt attention, even if Leng Yulin and Mu Chenxiang had asked him a few times whether he had seen their battle, Chen Shang had not said a word. Chen Shang nodded his head. From beginning to end, this battle, the rhythm of the battle has been controlled by Xiao Dao, and you all have seen it too. Every time Wang Jing's strongest fist force was blocked by the small knife, he would only receive a few punches that were slightly weaker than normal. The 10 or so punches he used to burn his skin were all of medium strength. Quote, if you all have been paying attention from the start, Wang Jing has actually revealed himself twice, but this is only at the beginning stage. And at the back, there were a total of 5 times where the door was deliberately left open. From start to finish, Xiao Dao did not take advantage of this to attack. Quote, hearing Chen Zhang's words, everyone could not help but take a deep breath. What kind of patience did he have to be so far? In other words, Xiao Dao is waiting for the best opportunity. This opportunity is almost here. From the beginning to the end, Xiao Dao's weak fist force, along with his nimble footwork, did not consume much of his mysterious power. Chen Shang laughed, but Wang Jing Zhu Rong scolded. When did little Yun become so evil? Chen Shang, you couldn't be making this up, right? This guy is not like the one I know. Quote. Chen Shang laughed. That's because you've never seen him meet a strong opponent during an official battle. This is a method of using the weak against the strong, and requires a certain amount of patience. Just as Chen Shang finished speaking, Wang Jing suddenly roared out, his agile and powerful body suddenly swelled up, revealing the sinister-looking muscles at the bottom of his clothes, his entire body flashing with electric currents. Time to end it. After Wang Jing shouted, lightning bolts that came from all directions suddenly appeared on the stage and attacked Yun Xiaodao. Yun Xiaodao heaved a sigh of relief. A strong protective shield suddenly appeared on his body, he was already prepared. This full-force blow of Wang Jing's was blocked by Yun Xiaodao, who was already prepared for it, and the protective barrier on Yun Xiaodao's body was also destroyed. Wang Jing was greatly shocked, and his originally inflated body also gradually shrunk. It's time to end this. Yun Xiaodao took a step forward in front of Wang Jing, and a pair of fists suddenly released a red ball of fire that flickered with purple lightning. Wang Jing had used too many mysterious powers to activate it. He had thought that Yun Xiaodao had exhausted a lot of his energy, so even if he could avoid that attack, he would not be able to counterattack. But he didn't expect that Yun Xiaodao would actually conserve so much energy. Just when he was unable to circulate his energy, Yun Xiaodao teleported to his side with an extremely strange movement technique. The 2 fists that had been accumulating energy for a long time smashed onto his body, sending him flying. The moment Wang Jing was flung to the ground, Yun Xiaodao once again fell from above. Since he had been relying on his legs to dodge, the strongest part of Yun Xiaodao was not his fist arts, but his leg techniques. I admit defeat. Wang Jing knew that he would definitely be severely injured by his legs, so he quickly admitted defeat. Yun Xiaodao anxiously stopped his cultivation. He, who was initially like a falling meteor, had suddenly landed gently, causing many people to be secretly shocked. We really won, just like what my old bro said. Leng Yulan said. The reason Xiao Dao was able to control the rhythm of the battle was also because he had decent strength and was able to rely on his own movement technique. Xiao Dao was also able to control the rhythm of the battle because he was able to rely on his own movement technique. Chen Shang said. Thus, during battle, we must not underestimate our opponent. Zhu Rong laughed. Chen Shang, you really shouldn't say it out loud, because if it's like this, I will be on guard against you from the start. If you don't say it, and if you use this move against me, I might just throw in the towel. Quote. Mu Chenxiang nodded his head. That's right, brother, you're so stupid. Chen Shang only smiled faintly and said, Old pig, it's our turn. Let's go. Chapter 2089. Zhu Rong was extremely calm as he walked up the stage. Through Yun Xiaodao's battle just now, Zhu Rong knew that he had to guard against Chen Shang, but he was still a little worried. This was because Chen Shang had analyzed Yun Xiaodao's tactics to him. Chen Shang only had 4 divine deity, so Zhu Rong had 2 more than him. Therefore, Zhu Rong felt that he had a great advantage in this area, and due to Chen Zhang's lack of divine deity, it was very difficult for him to make up for it with other aspects. At least, he had met opponents with fewer divine deity before, who were basically all killed by him in an instant. Therefore, he naturally believed that Chen Shang definitely did not have much power to deal with him. I wonder what will happen. It's been a long time since I've seen Chen Shang, can he still create such a shocking miracle like back then? Devil-killing heavenly god said, he's the only one who can comprehend my 7 devil-slain kung fu. Zhu Rong is also quite strong. Don't just look at his glib tongue, he is also very fierce in battle. Ji Dongchen laughed. Of course, since Chen Shang is so calm now, he shouldn't be too weak. Zhu Rong said. Chen Shang, you cannot play any tricks, this is a fair and square battle. He felt that if Chen Shang tried to play tricks, he wouldn't have much of a chance of winning. Chen Shang laughed. Never play tricks. Begin. An old man below the stage suddenly shouted. Zhu Rong was the first to make a move. The moment his feet moved, a water vine suddenly appeared and wrapped around his feet. But Zhu Rong's reaction was extremely fast. With a loud roar, he channeled some energy into his legs, and instantly shattered the water vines Chen Shang had released. At the same time, Chen Shang came over to Zhu Rong's side and kicked at Zhu Rong's bulging stomach. Although Zhu Rong was fat, he was still a fatty who was unbelievably fast. When Chen Shang kicked him out, he quickly turned his body to the side and shrunk his stomach, and after dodging Chen Zhang's kick, his fist shone with an azure light. He turned into a dragon head of fist force and roared as he rushed towards Chen Shang. Boom! The fist force had not even reached Chen Shang when it suddenly exploded, producing a burst of astral lightning that engulfed Chen Shang. Chen Shang did not expect that he would suddenly explode just as he was about to dodge the fist force. The sudden gale that enveloped him caused him to feel a bit of pain all around him that was green in color. Ha ha eh! Zhu Rong suddenly laughed out loud, and rushed towards Chen Shang with both of his fists dragging a green rainbow in the air, releasing a very terrifying profound spirit chi. The mysterious power that kept on bursting out from his fists was like a dragon's roar, with an imposing manner that was extremely terrifying. At this time, Zhu Rong's entire body was bursting with violent energy. While he was running, he stomped on the ground, causing it to shake greatly, and even the floor that had protection from the array formation was destroyed by him. Very quickly, he arrived in front of Chen Shang, who was entangled by the gale and rammed his two fists onto Chen Zhang's face and chest. Don't be complacent. Both of Chen Zhang's hands swung out and lightly slapped onto Zhu Rong's fists. With a "pala" sound, lightning struck in succession, and when his fists collided with Zhu Rong's fists, a burst of piercing purple light shone out, while Zhu Rong was also pushed back by his strength. Zhu Rong's previous two moves had already exceeded his estimate of Chen Zhang's strength, but just as he was about to attack, he realized that Chen Shang was not in his grasp. It's here. Chen Zhang's laughter came over. Zhu Rong anxiously looked to the left, at the same time throwing out a palm attack, the palm image that was accompanied by a berserk green astral wind enveloped over. However, Chen Shang was not in that direction, but was behind him. Chen Zhang's palm had slapped onto Zhu Rong's back, and this palm seemed to not be too painful or itchy, causing everyone to feel that Chen Shang had missed a good opportunity. But after Zhu Rong was gently hit by the palm, he felt that his upper body was a bit stiff, as if his bones was frozen solid. Zhu Rong scolded in his heart. He had always thought that since Chen Shang was refining pills, his usage of the cold energy must be very weak. He never thought that it would actually be so powerful. Chen Shang had used a bones technique, the cold moon divine power that Yue had taught him. Zhu Rong now clearly understood that even though Chen Shang had 4 divine deity, the power he was displaying was extremely terrifying, and he was even much stronger than him. He was already starting to panic, and anxiously turned around, wanting to fiercely retaliate, but he realized that he had become much more slow. Zhu Rong sighed in his heart. His movements had already become much slower, but it was fatal for him, and no one knew why the sensitive Zhu Rong had suddenly slowed down. Old pig, is that all you've got? While Chen Shang was speaking, a fist had already struck towards Zhu Rong's fat face. Chen Zhang's fist had just arrived, but he could already feel the terrifying scorching energy. Just now, Chen Shang was still using the icy cold power, and in just a blink of an eye, he was already using the heat of the flames. Wasn't this switch a little too quickly? This was the meteor immortal power that Chen Shang had learned. He channeled the 6 divine powers, and like a meteor, fiercely crashed into the inside of his bones, releasing a scorching, explosive force. The fist landed on Zhu Rong's face. Bang! With a loud explosion, Zhu Rong's face also lit up with a burst of flame. After that, he flew out of the ground, and in the blink of an eye, flew towards the stage, colliding into the stone wall at the side of the plaza that released the news, creating a huge hole. The loud explosion from that fist just now was still reverberating far away in the sky when Chen Zhang's fist turned red and emitted a bit of heat. Is this an old pig that I know? He was already stupefied by the large hole in the stone wall that Yun Xiaodao had made in the distance. Chen Shang seemed to be extremely relaxed as he knocked down Zhu Rong, who was the strongest in their group, just like that. Zhu Rong crawled up from the pile of rubble. His face was swollen and red, like half of a pig head. He himself did not know what had happened, but he felt that after feeling the frightening power of Chen Zhang's fist, his mind had turned blank. Wu Kaming took a deep breath and asked devil-killing heavenly god beside him, what was that punch Chen Shang threw just now? Is that power something the four divine deity possess? Quote. Devil-killing heavenly god was also unable to answer, and he was also very shocked. I don't know, but it can be seen that his fist strike earlier used his left hand. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a part of his body that possesses bones. Chen Zhang's left arm possessed two divine deities and an extremely terrifying divine beast's divine soul. Adding to that sea of 6 divine powers, the power he produced was not a joke. Chen Shang wins. Chen Shang walked down from the arena and walked to the left side with a smile. Zhu Rong was still sitting on the ground in a daze. Chapter 2090. Zhu Rong looked at Chen Zhang's left hand that was still fuming, and his heart trembled. He immediately stood up and took a few steps back. I lost is that the power of bones? Zhu Rong already knew how stupid he was before, to actually look down on Chen Zhang's bones so much. Zhu Rong laughed bitterly. Luckily I didn't bet with you, otherwise I would have lost miserably. He took out some ointment and smeared it on his face, gradually restoring his swollen face. It seemed that he still valued his image. Seeing Chen Shang and Zhu Rong walking over, Yuan Xiaodao laughed. Old pig, now you know how strong elder brother Shen is, I think you should continue being cocky in the future. Zhu Rong only snorted. Losing to Chen Shang is a very normal thing. Even if you were to fight him, you would also lose. But you were so complacent before, and you thought that Chen Shang could not even withstand one blow, and now you're the one who can't even take one blow. Of course, Yuan Xiaodao would not let go of this opportunity, and scolded Zhu Rong to his heart's content. Chen Shang was dragged to the side. Leng Yulin had already seen the power Chen Shang had displayed, it was much stronger than what she had imagined. Brother, I didn't expect you to have such a good foundation. This will be more interesting. Leng Yulin laughed. Although she did not see Zhu Rong as a good example, looking at her like this, she still felt that she would win. Wang Jinshi said. Yulan, you've already seen it. Your brother isn't weak, he still has many moves that he hasn't used yet. Don't underestimate him. Ji Meixian and Shui Ying were both in the second round, so Shui Ying lost to a tall and skinny man. This man came from the devil-killing divine city, and was rather strong, and had the ability to restrain beasts. Ji Meixian's opponent was not strong, so she could easily win. Soon, the second round had finished. Half of the participants had already left. Next, there was the drawing of lots for the third round. Many people had been injured in the first 2 rounds, so they had 4 hours to heal. After drawing lots, Chen Shang did not meet his acquaintance. Instead, it was Yuan Xiaodao and Ji Meixian who met. After the 2 rounds, another half of the contestants were eliminated. Chen Shang had defeated his opponent with ease, lost to Yuan Xiaodao, and Yuan Xiaodao had won with difficulty. There were only 16 people left. Next up would be the 8 groups of contestants. After the third round of lot drawing, Leng Yulin was wild with joy, because she had finally become Chen Zhang's opponent. And Mu Chenxiang, unluckily, knew how to fight Yuan Xiaodao. It had to be said that of the 16, only Leng Yulin and Mu Chenxiang were females. Although there had been many females from other forces before, all of them had been defeated and they had no choice but to withdraw. 6 hours should be enough time for you to recover. This time, they were given more time because in the last round of the battle, many of the opponents they had encountered were all very strong. Some of the injuries were not light, and with the help of high-level medicinal pills, their recovery speed was also very fast. In these 6 hours, Leng Yulin actually closed his eyes to rest, and adjusted his own state. She knew that Chen Shang was very strong, and in order to have a good fight, she had to adjust herself to her best state, and at the same time, adjust her own state of mind. She reminded herself that she should not underestimate Chen Shang. After resting, Chen Shang walked onto the stage. Leng Yulin followed behind him with a serious face, but she suddenly became nervous. Mu Chenxiang also wanted to see the battle between Chen Shang and herself, but she wanted to fight against Yuan Xiaodao. Yuan Xiaodao was not weak either, so she needed to fight seriously as well. If only Chen Shang had 6 divine deity, all of his opponents would have been killed instantly by him. Zhu Rong said. His bones is very powerful. We have also eaten many bone-level dan, but we are unable to condense bones. Could it be that condensing bones requires a very strong physical body? Duan Sanchang said. Chen Shang is a madman who cultivates the body. It looks like if we want to cultivate bones under the Supreme God, we must first strengthen our own body. XV Weilong had the same thought. Chen Shang had fought with Leng Yulin before as well, but at that time, the difference in their strengths was too great, and now, they were extremely close. Leng Yulin suddenly laughed. Bro, I think I can beat you. I am not being arrogant. This is the confidence that you must have in a battle. If you don't even have that confidence, then I don't need to fight anymore. Chen Shang nodded. That's right, we must not be cowardly. This is a good thing. I won't hold back after a while, I also want to see how strong you are. Chen Shang and Leng Yulin stood there and did not attack. After the shouting started, they looked at each other, and then moved together, attacking towards each other at an extremely fast speed. When Leng Yulin took a step forward, a pair of jade fists were covered in a layer of purple frost. The two of them moved extremely fast, and before Leng Yulin could even get close to Chen Shang, he threw out a punch. What surprised Chen Shang was that there was actually a white gigantic sword slashing towards him. Leng Yulin's transformation just now was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, he had already condensed an enormous frost sword from the extremely terrifying icy cold power. Weapons are not allowed to be used in battles, but this type of profound strength divine weapon that is condensed from mysterious power can be used. Leng Yulin was an expert in using the sword, and only with the sword would she be able to unleash her strongest power, so she had released a portion of the mysterious power from the very beginning, condensing it into a type of weapon to use. This also meant that from the very beginning, she had consumed a portion of her mysterious power. She did not plan to keep the battle going, but to end it quickly. That's right, letting your advantage be used in battle will only benefit you. Chen Shang laughed. As he spoke, Leng Yulin had already thrusted out several times, although they did not pierce him. Each of the frigid sword chi formed a vortex that reverberated across the stage. As Chen Shang was enveloped by the icy cold power, he also felt cold. He anxiously used his energy to resist. Leng Yulin's cold energy was used pretty well, and could actually invade his body. Leng Yulin suddenly raised her giant icy sword high up and shouted. An array formation was instantly condensed on top of it, and seeing the array patterns, Chen Shang was shocked. Leng Yulin had actually set up the array from the very beginning. After he discovered it now, it was already too late. Because Leng Yulin had already activated the killing array, countless gigantic ice swords flew down from the formation and stabbed down like a sudden rain. Chen Shang was already locked on, as though his body had a suction force. The ice greatsword that was falling down from the great array was flying towards him. No matter how he dodged, it would always hit his body. Chapter 2091. Chen Shang did not dodge, because with this unnecessary action, he did not know what powerful array Leng Yulin used to actually have such a miraculous power. At this moment, raging flames were raging under his skin. He had used the scorching sun heavenly elephant from his art of breeding heavenly elephants to make his body feel the scorching heat on the surface of the scorching sun. In just 10 breaths of time, Chen Shang felt as if he was being pierced by over 1,000 of these cold great swords. The killing array that Leng Yulin used was not simple. If he did not focus his attention to deal with it, he would definitely die here. Chen Shang understood this type of killing array the best. The killing array stopped its attack. The runes floating in the air slowly dimmed down. The place was filled with the icy cold power that Leng Yulin had released. The runes that were quickly forming in mid-air could instantly form an array pattern. This must have been done many times. Chen Shang never thought that the who always hated spirit grain could actually train to such an extent. Leng Yulin was still far away and she knew that it was extremely dangerous to approach Chen Shang, especially that fist strike Chen Shang used to attack him was something she secretly remembered in her heart. The moment Chen Shang got close to her, if she could not push him back, it would be extremely dangerous. Right after the ice sword killing formation ended, Chen Shang felt that something was wrong with the ice beneath his feet. He instantly thought of something and jumped fiercely, but his legs were firmly held back and he was actually unable to raise his feet. So all of that was done on purpose to distract me. The formation beneath my feet is. Just as Chen Shang reacted, Leng Yulin had already rushed over from behind him. She used her large sword to slap him ruthlessly from the side, wanting to knock him down so that Chen Shang would lose. However, the moment her ice greatsword touched Chen Zhang's cheek, Chen Zhang's cheek suddenly turned into a red-hot lump of metal. When her ice sword touched Chen Zhang's extremely hot cheek, it directly melted into mist. Come here. Chen Shang channeled his energy with his two swords, and the thick ice beneath his feet started to spin, turning into a vortex. Lang Yulin, who was standing far away, suddenly appeared in front of Chen Shang in the blink of an eye, and she was actually brought over by Chen Shang. Spatial energy. Lang Yulin was extremely shocked. She had never seen spatial energy of this level before. Without her permission, he actually allowed her to move, and under normal circumstances, would require her to be in a relaxed state to be able to move. Right now, she was fighting and did not relax at all, but Chen Shang had actually managed to get her here without anyone noticing. Hey, Chen Shang laughed. The impact of the meteor Immortal Power's punch had already struck towards Lang Yulin's jade face. Surprised, Lang Yulin immediately wanted to retreat, but found himself stepping on the ground, his fist accurately landing on her face. Ah! The moment Chen Zhang's fist struck, she could only block it with her face, but of course, she was still in great pain. Lang Yulin was originally going to be knocked flying, but when she flew to the edge of the fighting stage, for some reason, she suddenly changed directions and flew towards Chen Shang, who was in the middle of the stage. She could very clearly see Chen Zhang's fist flying towards her, but right now, her face was flying towards Chen Zhang's fist. Boom! The shock wave produced by the explosion of his power was even more powerful than the shock wave caused by the frost above the arena turning into ice crystals. Although Lang Yulin had also created a thick layer of ice to block on his face, the power of the meteor Immortal Power was not only scorching hot, it also had a very strong penetrating power. Lang Yulin was completely dazed by Chen Zhang's punch. Divine Sense C trembled slightly, the sound reverberating throughout the air, and he immediately flew out of the fighting arena. Aiya! Lang Yulin fell onto the ground, then sat up and shook her head. After her headache had lessened by a lot, she looked at Chen Shang, who was giggling on the stage with a face full of resentment. I can try again. Lang Yulin was unconvinced. Bro, you're using your spatial power, this is not fair. Zhu Rong secretly rejoiced in his heart when he saw that Lang Yulin had been punched twice. If Chen Shang had also used that spatial energy to play with him, then he would have truly become a pighead. After so many years, Chen Zhang's control over spatial energy had also improved greatly. Chen Shang laughed. I never said I won't use it, it's also a part of my power. Yulan, when you go back, learn how to seal the space around you. Quote. Chen Shang patted Yulan's head and laughed. You're already not bad, your series of attacks just now surprised me. Of course, even if I don't use spatial force, I can defeat you. However, I need a bit more time, so I want to end it quickly. Quote. Seeing Chen Shang easily defeat Lang Yulin, everyone had a new understanding of his current strength. What made them fearful was that Chen Shang had still hidden terrifying strength, and it was far from being as simple as it seemed on the surface. Alright, I admit defeat. Lang Yulin pouted and said. Just now, she had personally felt Chen Zhang's meteor Immortal Power, and it was truly terrifying. In order to block these two punches, she had already used the majority of her mysterious power. If she had blocked a few more punches, her Divine Sense C would have been hollowed out. At this time, Mu Chenxiang and Yun Xiaodao were still engaged in an intense battle, and Mu Chenxiang was actually suppressed by Yun Xiaodao. Chen Shang could not help but frown, and Yun Xiaodao's hidden strength also surprised him. This little Yun actually did not bring out his true strength against Wang Jing. On the contrary, using schemes and tricks, look at Wang Jing, his face is turning green. Zhu Rong laughed out loud. Looks like this guy will use the same tactics on whoever he wants to deal with. Chen Shang nodded his head. He felt that if he were to use that tactic on Wang Jing, he would definitely win, and it would not consume too much energy, and he would not reveal his true strength, that's why he acted like that. At the same time, he treated the battlefield as a training ground. Xiao Zhang's ultimate move has been called. Lang Yulin suddenly shouted, the entire stage started to tremble, 6 swords of different shapes surrounded Mu Chenxiang, and these were not real swords. Chen Shang was shocked. What is this? After Mu Chenxiang fell into a difficult situation and was just about to be defeated by Yun Xiaodao, the moment she released these 6 divine swords, which surrounded her body, Yun Xiaodao immediately did not dare to get closer. Let's go. Mu Chenxiang controlled the 6 swords to fly towards Yun Xiaodao. Yun Xiaodao retreated a few steps. He was fully prepared to counterattack, but all of the 6 swords suddenly turned into rays of light and lit up Yun Xiaodao. Surprisingly, this ray of light had a strong impact, causing him to feel as if his body was struck by a flying boulder. Bastard! Yun Xiaodao cursed under his breath, and then was flung off the stage. Chapter 2092. Mu Chenxiang heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Yun Xiaodao fall off the stage. That was close. I initially did not want to use this move, but I did not expect to be forced out here. It was astonishing that she was able to release 6 such strange swords, but she was actually not a real weapon. Just like Leng Yulin, she had condensed them using her own divine power, and some cultivators were even able to condense their own portion of the divine power into a divine weapon in times of danger. The next round would be drawing lots. As long as they could obtain the victory of the next round, then 2 spots would be determined. Then, the 2 people who had lost would fight another round, and they would obtain the final spot. Chen Xiang and Mu Chenxiang had both entered the next round, and were drawing lots with 2 men who looked extremely similar. You 2 are brothers? Chen Xiang asked curiously. The 2 men looked handsome and wore white clothes. They both smiled and nodded. After drawing lots, Chen Xiang actually did not fight with Mu Chenxiang, but chose to be modest and polite with one of the men. The big brother's name was Zhou Chang and the little brother's name was Zhou Shang. Chen Xiang understood that the strength of the divine city was also not bad, and the city lord was also a rare genius. This was what he had heard from Wang Jinshi and Yan Zilan, and they did not know much about it either. Chen Xiang and Mu Chenxiang had 4 hours of rest. At this time, Yan Zilan and the others were also gathering various information on their opponents, but they didn't gain anything. We noticed their fight just now. These 2 are very strong, and they won easily, or their opponents were too weak, so we couldn't force them to use their strongest power. In short, their fight ended very quickly, and their opponents wouldn't be able to last 3 moves. Duan Sanchang said. The 2 brothers were also the highlight of today's match. Mu Chenxiang said, "Brother, as long as we win this fight, we will be able to fight." Leng Yulin laughed. Xiao Shang, don't hide it from the beginning. Use your strongest strength as soon as possible to prevent yourself from being defeated like me, who has yet to unleash my true strength. Mu Chenxiang nodded his head, but Chen Xiang was a little worried. That pair of brothers of the Zhou family seemed to be not bad, and they were also very talkative, giving pointers to the people who lost to them just now, making them feel extremely respectful to them. I have been to the great Zhou Empire once, and this divine city existed since long ago. Every time there was a crisis, this divine city would mysteriously disappear. Penalty Heavenly God said, "This city lord is a good person, I have come into contact with him twice, and it is all because someone ran to his divine city with me as my captor. I am only greeting him, he will bring the person I am capturing here soon." These 2 brothers aren't simple. Several of their opponents were not bad, but they were not able to withstand 3 moves. Furthermore, from the beginning to the end, they didn't use any techniques. All of them were very simple punches and kicks. Ji Yu Dongchen said, "What's strange is that the power they are using is not the kind of fierce physical body power, nor is it divine power with an attribute. What exactly is the power they are using?" Devil-killing heavenly god shook his head. "I can't tell either, but it might be because their father created some kind of powerful divine technique, or he obtained it from somewhere. After cultivating it, he would be able to obtain that kind of power." Chen Xiang used the Dao Hard Eye to look at the Zhou brothers. Surprisingly, he did not find any obvious energy flowing through their bodies. What do you think of those 2 brothers? Did you notice them on the side just now?" Chen Xiang sent a sound transmission to Yue. Chen Xiang used the Dao Hard Eye to sweep across everyone present, and more or less, could see the obvious trajectory of the energy in these people's bodies. Chen Xiang felt that he should have already seen it. It was just that the power was transparent, so he could see the power of the semi-transparent state of the mist. Unknowingly, it was time for the break. The 2 matches would be held at the same time. Yue replied, "I didn't discover anything. Unless they can use more of that power, their strength and aura aren't very obvious." Chen Xiang was sparring with his big brother Zhou Chang. After walking onto the stage, he forcefully smiled and said, "Brother Shen, I've heard a lot about you. It's my honor to be able to fight with you today, even if I lose." "Brother Zhou, don't be so modest. To be able to reach this step, you must have extraordinary strength." Chen Xiang replied with a smile. Begin. Chen Xiang knew that Zhou Chang usually only defeated him in 3 moves, so he was extremely cautious from the start, and used a very conservative method to let his opponent attack first. The strongest indeed was the first to attack. It looked like he had only taken a few light steps, but in Chen Zhang's eyes, his movement skills were extremely strange, and he was actually dazzled by it. "What is this movement technique?" Chen Shang released the spatial perception domain, which accurately sensed the movements of everyone around him. However, at this moment, he felt that there were 7 to 8 Zhou Chang on stage, having been here from all directions, but he could only see one Zhou Chang. There's one more up there. Chen Shang was shocked. In that moment of danger, he found a gap and dodged all the attacks from Zhou Chang. Chen Shang was completely shocked in his heart. No matter if he was using his eyes or the divine soul floating in the air, all he saw was a single Zhou Chang. However, 7 or 8 of them suddenly appeared just now. Chen Shang dodged, but Mu Chenxiang, who was on the other stage, did not. With just 2 shouts, Mu Chenxiang was pushed off the stage. With a face of confusion, it was clear that she had met with the same situation as Chen Shang. As expected of Chen Shang, he actually dodged the first move. Those below who had fought with Zhou Chang before cried out in alarm. They had all experienced that kind of extremely strange attack, and although they had clearly dodged it, they were still struck by this strange attack, which was followed by the second move, and were blasted off the stage. Mu Chenxiang had already finished her battle and was defeated by Zhou Sheng in 2 moves, which made Mu Chenxiang extremely unwilling, but she could not say anything because the other party had used her own strength to defeat him. Hearing the discussions of the others, she knew that the 2 brothers had grasped this strange offensive movement technique. Xiao Shang, what happened just now? Leng Yulan asked anxiously. The 3 teachers, Wang Jinshi, Bai Yuyu and Bai Ziqian, were extremely curious to know about Mu Chenxiang's strength. There were at least 4 guys attacking me from 4 directions just now, and they were very fast too. I only managed to dodge 2, and then I was hit. The next second move was the same as well. I didn't dodge them, and was already hit. Mu Chenxiang frowned, and looked at Chen Zhang's stage. You are truly worthy of being my brother, to actually be able to avoid such an attack unscathed. Chapter 2093. When Zhou Chang saw that Chen Shang was able to dodge his first move, his face revealed a look of shock. Brother Shen is truly amazing, he has fought with me before, and has never been able to avoid my first move, your first person. You're too kind, you're very powerful, this is the first time I've encountered such a technique. Chen Shang laughed, he was also secretly curious what kind of technique Zhou Chang was using. Not only was his movement skill so strange and powerful, the power he was using was also very mysterious. Look at this. Zhou Chang laughed lightly, shouted, and rushed towards Chen Shang once again. 16, double the number. Chen Shang was shocked once again. 16 Zhou Chang who had the same strength attacked from 16 different directions, it was difficult for him to find a blind spot to dodge. Chen Shang looked at Zhou Chang who was rushing over in front of him. He himself also flew over, raised his fist, and channeled meteor immortal power to attack him. He was very sure that his fist was on Zhou Chang's face, because he could feel the warmth of his skin, but just as he was about to touch Zhou Chang suddenly disappeared. He missed. He dodged it, but it was definitely impossible, because I already touched his face. There's no way he could have dodged it in that instant. What exactly is going on? When Chen Shang threw out his punch, he had already activated his Heavenly Elephant constellation and used Cloud and Heavenly Elephant, causing his body to instantly become like a cloud. Just as he had guessed, the moment he punched, attack power from all directions hit his body, as though they were being attacked by dozens of Zhou Chang's at the same time. However, those fists seemed to have been struck by clouds, and were unable to harm Chen Zhang's body. It was hard for Chen Shang to understand why the Zhou Chang he just attacked had disappeared, and was now right behind him. He noticed that there were no marks left on Zhou Chang's face from the punch he received. Zhou Chang attacked Chen Shang the second time, but did not harm him either. He retreated to the side of the fighting stage and looked at Chen Shang with furrowed brows, because he knew that he had met a strong opponent. Chen Shang only had 4 divine deity, and 2 less than him. Just what is going on with this guy? His face was hit by my brother's fist, but he was able to quickly dodge and attack my brother from behind. Leng Yulan said as he frowned. Just now, it was indeed very strange, and many people saw it clearly. It was like a blade suddenly chopping down on a demon beast. The speed of the chopping motion was very fast. The blade edge had already cut into the skin of the demon beast, but the demon beast suddenly dodged and rushed from the back, violently attacking. I see. Chen Shang sent a sound transmission to UAA. UAA, if you knew how to grasp the laws of time and use some techniques, would you be able to do what you've just done? That's right, this fellow is using the law of time. UAA replied, this is an extremely rare law energy. Although it is everywhere, the people who grasp it are very few. In the past, when Chen Shang used the god-murdering sword techniques and the speed of his 7 devil-slain kung fu to change, he also had this kind of state. It could create 2 different types of time in the same space and then produce an effect, which would then cause the other person's movements to become very slow while himself became very fast. In this way, in the eyes of outsiders, an inconceivable speed would appear. Zhou Chang, on the other hand, was even more proficient in using the power of time. He who was able to split a few periods of time and then use these few people to quickly attack, and the one who was injured could immediately recover before being injured. Chen Shang only had a very vague idea of how to use time to attack. He did not know the specifics, but the 2 brothers Zhou Chang were not only able to control the power of the time laws, they also had some methods to use it, which was why it looked so strange. We've encountered a powerful opponent. Chen Shang didn't know why, but he felt a kind of secret excitement in his heart. All he knew was that the Azure Dragon controlled the time laws, but because of so many reasons, he couldn't even meet with the Azure Dragon once, and could only ask him about the power of time. Now that he had encountered one and was even able to be his opponent, if he had fought a match, then he would definitely have a better understanding of the power of the time laws. Looks like there's only one way to defeat him. Chen Shang took a small breath. Zhou Chang also felt that he had met a strong opponent. This was the first time he had met someone who was not only unscathed after 2 moves, but also capable of injuring a time clone. It's the power of time. After that, he said what he had seen and said, which was more or less what Chen Shang had thought just now. There were also disciples in the crowd who were experienced and knowledgeable, because Chen Shang was the first person to probe out Zhou Chang's strength. From the strange situation before, some people inferred that it was the power of the time laws. Many people did not understand, but those who understood found this difficult to decipher because the other side controlled time. If their bodies were to continuously return to a situation where they did not consume any energy nor were they injured, wouldn't that mean that they were invincible and would never waste energy? Previously, Chen Shang had also used a similar method to treat his wounds, and it was indeed very useful, but his control over time was not strong enough, so he rarely tried it again. This place is indeed a crouching tiger, hidden dragon. I didn't expect it to be seen through so quickly. Zhou Chang smiled slightly. Brother Shen, I hope that you do not disappoint me, let me see how capable you are. All right. After Chen Shang said this word, he immediately released an even stronger power of the spatial laws that formed a space domain. This allowed him to more clearly control his surroundings' movements. Space domain, not bad, not bad. Zhou Chang looked around. Although the space domain was invisible, he could feel it. Not long after Chen Shang released the space domain, he felt that something was wrong, because his space domain did not seem to be here. This feeling was very strange, because even though he had released the space domain, his domain had not appeared, and it had not been broken. Time domain, make the time on the stage compare to before my space domain, this way my space domain will have no effect. Chen Shang frowned, his power of the spatial laws was actually suppressed. That's right, your space domain is still here, but it's not on this stage. The stage that your space domain covered is still here, but you can't see because it's already been covered by the stage. Zhou Chang laughed bitterly. Perhaps this is a little complicated, but to put it simply, the past, future, and now can all be folded together, and this stage is just like the past, while your space domain is covered with the present, which I have hidden. Lang Yulin scratched his head. It's so complicated. Uaa said. It's more difficult to understand. The fighting stage that we are now seeing is a few hours away. At that time there are no space domain, and Chen Shang is continuing to use the space domain on the stage. Then as long as Zhou Cheng can push the time forward, the space domain disappeared again. Chapter 2094. Mu Chenxiang said. Doesn't that mean they can easily make people older, or younger? Zhou Sheng, who was beside her, shook his head and laughed. Of course not. The only thing we can use the power of the time laws is our own body, or something that doesn't have any life in them, such as a stone or metal. Our control over the law of time is only on the skin of our hands. It was just that the situation was so dire that no one could think of a way to break it. Chen Shang had already given up on using his spatial energy, because the other party could control time to control the changes in this space. It's the Heavenly Dragon Seal. Lang Yulin suddenly shouted. Although Chen Shang had not used it for a long time, his speed was still much faster than before, and could almost release it in an instant. In the air above the fighting stage, hundreds of dragons roared ferociously like lightning, and hacked down continuously. Just as the first attack landed on Zhou Cheng's head, it suddenly disappeared. What? Chen Shang looked at the condensed chi vortex in the sky, and suddenly disappeared. I just sent it to another time slot, hee hee. Zhou Chang laughed and then he disappeared. Once again, he controlled the time difference between him and others, allowing himself to achieve an extremely fast speed. At the same time, he appeared and attacked Chen Shang from all directions. Chen Zhang's body turned into a scorching sun that was as hot as billowing magma. At the same time, he also poured all of the fire energy within the fourth divine deity out, forming an extremely scorching barrier that was connected to him. When Zhou Chang attacked him from all directions, he struck the scorching sun heavenly elephant and the scorching shield of chi and immediately retreated. He could not endure the scorching heat. What a powerful flame power! Zhou Chang was unable to directly control the power that was tightly connected to Chen Shang to undergo the change in time. The hand that he had struck Chen Zhang's abdomen earlier was already burnt red. However, he quickly recovered. Clearly, he had used a change in time at the place where he was scalded to produce a change in time. It was now the time when he was not injured. Chen Shang suddenly realized that Zhou Chang's own strength was not very strong, if not he would not be scalded by his defense. What was more powerful about Zhou Chang was that he was using time to increase his own speed while making other people's attacks useless, and was able to produce multiple time clones to attack him, but his true strength was not very strong. There's simply no solution. If this goes on, Chen Shang will be exhausted sooner or later, and his attacks are getting stranger and stranger. He might even have some tricks up his sleeve. Zhu Rong said. Although I don't know what kind of attack time can make, I do know that it can dissolve a very strong power. This talent is too terrifying. Duan Sanchang said. Zhou Chang also felt a headache, because Chen Shang was like a hedgehog right now. He had no way to start attacking him, and he knew his own weakness, which was that his attack power was too weak, causing him to be unable to break through Chen Zhang's defense. Chen Shang had told Lu Menger and the others before that even if he did not have a profound Wu clothing, he would still be able to possess an extremely terrifying defense by relying on his celestial phenomenon art. When Zhou Chang attacked again, Chen Shang still did not move, but used defense instead. When Zhou Chang's fist struck his body did not become as hot as the blazing sun, instead, it produced icy cold power. What shocked Zhou Chang the most was that his fist actually stuck tightly onto Chen Zhang's body, because he had already been frozen by an extremely strong chill, causing him to be unable to pull his fist back from Chen Zhang's chest. The frightening thing was that the extremely strong suction force produced by Chen Zhang's body made it even harder for him to struggle free. Chen Shang smiled slightly. The meteor immortal power that he had been preparing for a long time started to surge violently in his left arm. His fist was like a burning iron fist, fiercely smashing towards Zhou Chang's face. Boom! Chen Zhang's divine fist, which was produced by the meteor immortal power, struck Zhou Chang's face, causing brilliant sparks to fly. Zhou Chang also cried out in pain. The bones on his face had also cracked, and Chen Zhang's fist was truly very berserk. When Zhu Rong saw this, his heart couldn't help but tremble. Boom! Chen Shang quickly punched again. Sparks once again flew from Zhou Chang's swollen face, and half of his face was a tragic sight to behold. However, his fist was still glued to Chen Zhang's body, unable to be pulled out. At the same time period, it is impossible for several of you to appear, and since you are in contact with other lifeforms, your time clone cannot be replaced with you. As Chen Shang said this, he threw out his third punch, using the meteor immortal power to carry out 3 consecutive punches that caused Zhou Chang to feel dizzy. Ah! Suddenly, Zhou Chang screamed in pain, blood spurted out from his arm. He had actually broken off one of his own arms, that way he could separate himself from Chen Shang. If not, he would have been punched a few more times, he would have been defeated. After Zhou Chang left Chen Shang, he immediately controlled the time, so that his face back to before he was beaten up and his arm back to that time as well, so he was fine again. However, that pain was already deeply imprinted in his memories, making him feel fear just thinking about it. Chen Shang looked at the broken arm on his chest. It had actually disappeared, probably destroyed by Zhou Chang using the power of the time laws. There's no need at all, Yun Xiaodao said. Seeing that he has the upper hand, Zhou Chang was even punched a few times, but in the blink of an eye, he has turned back into a normal person. Zhou Sheng said, Chen Shang is too terrifying, we have never met such an opponent. If my big brother wants to win, it won't be easy, and we do not know how long this battle will last. Mu Chenxiang scoffed. You two brothers are clearly relying on your talent to bully others, but then again, if you guys were to fight with Hell Devil Emperor and the rest, don't lose. If Zhou Chang lost to Chen Xiang, then victory would be determined with Mu Chenxiang. Mu Chenxiang felt that he would not be able to win against Zhou Chang, this abnormal guy. Chen Xiang, your strength is truly frightening. I can't compare to you in this aspect, but I must beat you. Zhou Chang said firmly. If you continue to raise your strength and break through my defenses, not being affected by the spiritual power of the attributes, you will become even more powerful. Chen Xiang laughed. I will definitely win this battle. Thank you for your advice. Once Zhou Chang finished speaking, he rushed towards Chen Xiang once again. This time, his speed was even faster, and he even used the profound mysteries of time, making the time on the stage continuously change. This way, the sensing power Chen Xiang released would be affected, and it would be difficult to determine his direction. The only problem he had was trying to break Chen Zhang's terrifying defense, but he had already found a way. Multiple time overlaps. Chen Xiang had already sensed it. This was equivalent to multiple powers combining together. He estimated that it would probably be around the 16th stage, and this kind of power would be extremely terrifying. Chapter 2095. This time, Zhou Chang was also betting everything on one throw, because he knew that delaying would be disadvantageous for him, and Chen Xiang would discover his weakness. Because it was multiple powers, when they overlapped each other, it would produce a very strong energy fluctuation. Chen Xiang could clearly feel that if this energy were to hit his body, he would probably be severely injured, so suddenly, a yin-yang array appeared beneath his feet. Zhou Chang's time clones that were hiding in the surroundings suddenly slowed down a little when they rushed towards Chen Xiang. What's going on? Zhou Chang was shocked. He never thought that the time clones he controlled would suddenly be slowed down by Chen Xiang by a little, causing them to be unable to merge together. This was something he did not expect. He thought that it would be like what happened just now. Chen Xiang had once again released cold energy to bind his arm. He had already prepared for the possibility of losing an arm, but Chen Xiang had disappeared, leaving him panicking in his heart. When Chen Xiang, who had disappeared, once again appeared, Zhou Chang felt a powerful force colliding into his back, causing his entire body to feel intense pain, especially the divine sense C, which trembled violently. Chen Xiang then used the divine sense C to attack him. Not good. Zhou Chang quickly adjusted his condition to remove the pain from his body, but he discovered that he had fallen out of the fighting arena. This was something he had learned from the god-murdering sword techniques and the 7 devil-slain Kung Fu, only then would he be able to defeat Zhou Chang. The power of the time laws Zhou Chang had used was transformed from the power of the divine sense C, and as long as his divine sense C was unable to circulate his energy for a short period of time, he would be unable to use the power of time. Zhou Chang looked at Chen Xiang, who was on the stage, and was left speechless. He had thought that he would be able to defeat Chen Xiang, but he did not expect to be defeated so quickly by Chen Xiang. He was very clear on what had happened in that instant. Zhou Chang actually lost, but looking at him, he should still be able to continue fighting. It's just that the rule is that he will be able to continue fighting if he falls, but if he continues, it'll be hard to say who will win in the end. Chen Xiang is also very strong. Zhou Chang hasn't defeated him for so long, on the contrary, he himself has been defeated. Right now, we have already determined 2 spots, namely Zhou Sheng and Chen Xiang. Next, Zhou Chang will decide on a 3rd spot with Mu Chenxiang. It must be Zhou Chang's. Mu Chenxiang lost to Zhou Sheng in the last 2 moves, and even little brother couldn't beat him, so big brother's loss must be faster. Although Zhou Chang had lost, he had lost wholeheartedly. He knew that Chen Xiang had also concealed a very powerful strength, and the power that had disturbed his multiple clones just now was inconceivable to him. Even though I lost to Brother Shen, I will definitely be able to fight with Chen Xiang against Hell Devil Emperor and the rest in the end. Zhou Chang chuckled, because he felt that he would have no suspense if he were to fight Mu Chenxiang right now. Bro, I give up. I'm not as good as you are. Mu Chenxiang said with a bitter face. Her power was not weak, she had only met people who knew how to use their strange time and energy. Zhou Chang laughed out loud. If that's the case, then that's for the best. Of course, I feel that Miss Mu should also go all out. Chen Xiang smiled faintly and said to Mu Chenxiang, Chenxiang, I'll teach you a move, maybe you really will defeat him. But first, I have to ask you, did you see through his weakness just now? This caused Zhou Chang and Zhou Sheng to be slightly shocked. They themselves could not think of anyone else other than Chen Xiang, who could defeat them. Mu Chenxiang had already fought with Zhou Sheng, and was defeated in 2 moves. Their mysterious power is not very strong. Perhaps it's because they are controlling the laws of time, so the strength of the mysterious power is not high. Just now, he was unable to break through your defense, and you can see it. Mu Chenxiang said. Basically, everyone present could see that. Not bad. Is there anything else? Chen Shang asked again. Everyone pricked up their ears. They wanted to hear if Zhou Chang had any other weaknesses, and that way, if they fought with these two brothers again in the future, they might be able to win. Mu Chenxiang frowned, thought for a while, and then shook his head. No, I can't see any other weaknesses. Zhou Chang frowned, and said, Chen Shang, if you discover any other weaknesses, please tell me. You can say them out in front of the crowd. I am not afraid of everyone knowing, I am afraid that I do not know, this way I can make up for it in the future. One more thing, when you use the power of time, as long as you are slightly affected by the time interference from the outside world, you will be in serious trouble. Chen Shang said, initially, you had planned to use the combined power of 16 avatars of time to attack me, but after being disturbed by me, the fusion had failed, and it had even consumed a lot of your energy. Zhou Chang nodded his head, that's right, but not everyone can interfere with my time. I'm still very curious about how Chen Shang did it, so logically speaking, you should need to use your time and energy to do it. The infinite refining that Chen Shang used was able to absorb various types of energy to refine it. After releasing the infinite refining, he circulated it to the limit and absorbed a little of the time power that Zhou Chang released, but this actually caused a great deal of disturbance to Zhou Chang. Mu Chenxiang pouted and said, Brother, then tell me how to disturb his time, I can't even do it if you tell me. Chen Shang pinched her face, and laughed, he still has another fatal weakness, I will quietly tell you. Zhou Chang's and Zhou Sheng's expression changed. They completely believed what Chen Shang had said, the fatal weakness that Chen Shang had mentioned was definitely fatal. Brother Shen, can you tell me more about it? Zhou Chang asked quickly. You'll know after the match between Chen Xiang and yourself. Whether you win or lose, you'll know. Chen Shang smiled slightly. Originally, I planned to use it a moment ago, but I somewhat have a bit of selfishness in mind. I want Chen Xiang to win against you. Chen Zhang's recognized sister is indeed very strong. If I do not use my time and energy, I'm afraid I won't be able to take 10 of her attacks. Zhou Chang's face was now very serious. It seemed that he would have to use all his strength in the next round. After resting, Mu Chenxiang and Zhou Chang walked up the stage. Everyone was looking forward to the battle, because they had already known that Chen Shang would teach Mu Chenxiang and let him defeat Zhou Chang. Just now, Shen Shi had told Mu Chenxiang sound transmission and told him the way to defeat Zhou Chang. Chapter 2096. From the start, Mu Chenxiang had brandished both of his hands, releasing hundreds of small swords that flew in all directions. All of these small swords were condensed from the mysterious power, their power was extremely terrifying, able to easily penetrate skin of beasts, and even exploded when they entered. Zhou Chang had also used a skillful time clone to attack Mu Chenxiang from multiple directions from the very beginning, but because Mu Chenxiang had continuously released those small flying swords, his time clone had been obstructed. You're too slow. Mu Chenxiang could feel the energy that was approaching him from other times, so the moment it got close to her, she immediately dodged. The reason why Zhou Chang was slow was also because of the small flying swords, because he wanted to use the time energy to make those flying swords disappear. Zhou Chang's first attack did not hit Mu Chenxiang, but his second attack immediately started as well. After Mu Chenxiang dodged the attack, he immediately used the mysterious power to condense a chain to bind Zhou Chang. It's useless. As soon as Zhou Chang finished speaking, he changed the time, and the chain in Mu Chenxiang's hand suddenly disappeared, because the entire space was controlled by Zhou Chang. He only needed to return the time before the chains condensed, and the chain would disappear. Sure enough, when Mu Chenxiang saw that Zhou Chang had attacked again, she locked onto Zhou Chang's original body and once again swung out a chain towards him. Zhou Chang did not expect that after Mu Chenxiang had failed just now, he would still return. When he felt the chains flying towards him, he immediately brought the time of this space back to how it was before. At this time, he also released multiple time clones, all of which attacked Mu Chenxiang from different directions. However, this time he couldn't turn Mu Chenxiang's chain into nothingness. Haha, I'm trapped. She then quickly ran around Zhou Chang, and in the blink of an eye, she had already tied Zhou Chang up into a dumpling. What's going on? Zhou Chang was tied up by the chains, and was unable to move. He frantically circulated the power of time, wanting to make the damned chains on his body disappear, but to no avail. He was sure that the time in this space before the chains came out was when the chains would no longer exist. But he did not. Zhou Chang had already failed twice, and this caused him to be greatly shocked. As expected, Chen Xiang discovered a fatal weakness in his body. Mu Chenxiang immediately rushed up, channeled his mysterious power, and struck the chain with his palm, releasing a strong impact that sent Zhou Chang flying out. Zhou Chang lost even faster this time, and was even defeated by Mu Chenxiang. Zhou Sheng, who was watching from below the stage, was stunned. Mu Chenxiang, who had just been defeated by him in 2 moves, had now also defeated his brother in a very short amount of time. I won. Mu Chenxiang was extremely excited. Ji Yudongchen frowned. What did this girl do? Logically speaking, Zhou Chang should have destroyed her chain, but he did not succeed. The devil-killing heavenly god also found it hard to understand. Zhou Chang failed both times when he tried, and it was clear that he was unable to control the time change on the chain. What the hell is going on? Even though Zhou Chang lost, what he cared the most about was how Mu Chenxiang actually did it, because this was a fatal weakness. Zhou Sheng also wanted to know. Brother Shen, please tell us that if you are able to discover our fatal weakness, you will be our great benefactor. Zhou Chang said. Our father told us before that we have a great weakness, but he was unwilling to tell us, he wanted us to understand it for ourselves. Chen Xiang said as he laughed, your father should have told you guys this earlier, because that way, you wouldn't have to rely too much on the power of time. Just now, the chains Chen Xiang released were not very strong, so it isn't difficult for a person with 6 divine deity to break free from them. Secondly, you said before, your time laws are unable to control lifeforms other than yourself. Just now, Chen Xiang's chain was wrapped with multiple strands of her hair. Even though those hairs had already left her body, they are still flesh and blood to you. Your time energy cannot affect the change of her hair, so you did not succeed. Chen Xiang said. Of course, if it's at the extreme, I can directly use the power of blood to defeat you. How did you think of using your hair? Zhou Chang took a deep breath. As long as his power merged with his life form, then the power of time would not be able to change it. Chen Xiang laughed. Because of the power of your time, the competition stage has returned a few times, and even some of the sand on the stage has disappeared, but your hair is not there, it is still there. The 3 spots, Chen Xiang, Mu Chenxiang and Zhou Sheng, had already been determined. Zhou Sheng, the devil arts hell devil emperor and the rest are using are not simple, so in these 20 days, you have to think of a way to make your mysterious power go berserk, otherwise you will be in danger. Although the 2 brothers were controlling the power of time, their own strength was very weak, and could not form any offensive power. On the other hand, those who walked the path of the evil demon, had very strong physical bodies. Thank you very much. Zhou Chang and Zhou Sheng hurriedly thanked him. Now, they knew that during the competition with the Hell Devil Emperor, they could be on guard. After all, when the time came for the competition, they would not be as simple as stepping down from the stage. Originally, they were only here to train Zhou Sheng, but because they were brothers, and because they were also very good seedlings, they started to train together. Mu Chenxiang, on the other hand, was handed over to LV Kilian and the others. As for Chen Xiang, no one could give him any pointers. 20 days is simply too little. Chen Xiang felt that he did not have enough time. He faintly felt that the resources sent by the Hell Devil Emperor would be very strong, and might even be from those divine nations as. We can't let them win. Chen Xiang returned to the Hundreds of Flowers village with Mu Chenxiang and the others. Mu Chenxiang went to look for LV Kilian and the others. Shui Shenxian and the others were busy repairing the profound WU clothing for Chen Xiang. When they saw Chen Xiang return, they knew that the competition had already concluded. I thought you were the first one to come here, Yulin. I didn't expect that it would be you, little scoundrel. Did you lose and come here to complain? Shui Shenxian chuckled. She was currently smelting something in the hall using a small stove. She lost to me, but she lost very willingly, and now she is going to cultivate together with the beautiful Immortal, Chen Xiang and the others. Chen Xiang laughed. Chen Xiang has obtained one of the spots. The girls were all here, each of them with their own things to do. Some of them were smelting, some were analyzing blueprints, and some were drawing spirit grain A. Chen Xiang told them what happened during the competition. By the time he finished, it was already night. Elder sister Menguer, I remember that you guys used to have a time formation, you can get more time by going in, there are only 20 days left. I hope that you guys can have more time to help me improve, said. Back then, Leng Yulan and Shui Shenxian would often enter that place to cultivate. Chapter 2097. Dongfang Xinyue put down the work at hand and walked over to Chen Zhang's side. He picked up the drink Chen Shang had made and drank a little, then said, "Aren't you very strong now? But the ones sent out by the Hell Devil Emperor might be from there." Chen Shang said, "If it's really divine nations, with our little strength, we will definitely lose." Lu Munger said, "There are of course array formations that can reverse time, but the current Nine Heaven World space is different from before. In the past, when Nine Heaven World was still very weak, the time formation he used was a very high-level one, so it could easily reverse time. But now it's different. Time and space were intertwined to a certain extent, and Chen Shang was fairly clear about this." "How much energy will I need to gain more time?" Chen Shang asked. "Is this dragon vein not enough? The formation has been in operation for 20 days, which will allow you to obtain at least 200 days. However, the consumption of energy from the dragon fountain is very great. If you want to obtain 20 years, I reckon 10 days will be enough time for the dragon fountain to enter a very weak state." Shui Shenxian said as he took out an array disc, and saw that it was square. Lu Munger, Dongfang Jing and Dongfang Xinyue also took out a square formation plate. "This was originally created by us, and can be overlapped 4 times. If we use one alone, it will be a month. If we keep one in, it will be a month. If we add one in, it will be a year." Shui Shenxian gave the square formation plate to Chen Shang. Lu Munger and the others handed it over as well. Chen Shang hurriedly took the 4 array discs and said, "If I were to stack them all together and use them, then 200 years of time would have only passed 20 years for me inside." "Yes, but you need to find a place with sufficient energy to use it. We refined this array disc based on the records of the Heavenly Divine Lord's 9 Heavens treasured artifact, and it can absorb energy to maintain the array formation." Lu Munger said, "I can't use it on the dragon's vein. It will drain the energy in the dragon's vein." Chen Shang thought for a while, then said, "Seems like we can only go to the old place." "Oh right, how many people can enter at once? It's best if it's just one. With one more living being inside, the amount of energy required will increase by several times." Lu Munger sighed lightly. If it was in that kind of lower-level world in the past, then time formation would be everywhere and the amount of energy needed would not be much. At that time, many powers would use the time formation to grow medicinal herbs. It was indeed different now. Space was strong on one side, but changing time was also very difficult. It required a very large amount of energy to do so. "What's the old place you were talking about? Is it dangerous?" Shui Shenxian asked. "The Earth's core, that place isn't dangerous for me." Chen Shang laughed. "Don't worry, it's very safe there." Dongfang Jing said, "Brother, now that the 9 Heaven World is growing stronger, the core of the Earth is becoming stronger and stronger. It's not like in the past, you have to be careful." "Got it." Chen Shang caressed it and said, "I will go look for Yujia and get some divine medicine from her. There's a pill furnace here, you can keep it for now." Dongfang Xinyue passed a very small pill furnace to Chen Shang. "After recognizing the master, you can enlarge it." Chen Shang accepted the pill furnace, and after bidding farewell to the girls, he went to find Feng Yuji. Feng Yuji was not concocting pills at the moment, but he had found LV Qinlian in the Hundreds of Flowers village and asked her to send a message to him on an urgent matter. Feng Yuji hurried back after learning that Chen Shang had important matters to discuss with her. "I was planning to go to Heavenly Divine Palace to have a look. There's something important I need to do." When Feng Yuji saw Chen Zhang's smiling face, she scoffed. "I really have something urgent to do. Give me some bone-level Dan's medicinal herbs, I want 100 sets like this." Chen Shang said, he wanted to stay in the time formation for a while, at that time he would try to condense bones. "I have it here, it was originally meant for Great Divine Lord and the rest to refine, but if you need it, I'll give it to you." Feng Yuji passed Chen Shang a storage bag. "What are you planning to do with it?" "I need to go into closed-door training for a period of time. At that time, I plan to try condensing another bones." Chen Shang said, "Of course, what I need more is a pill that can condense divine deity after consuming it. If you don't have this kind of pill formula, you can think of creating one. At that time, it will definitely be very easy to sell." Feng Yuji laughed. "If that was the case, I wouldn't have to work so hard to condense my divine deity throughout the day." Chen Shang laughed heartily. "There will be one sooner or later." He took the opportunity when Feng Yuji wasn't paying attention to kiss her on the lips, then flew out of the room. I wonder if the Yuming Deep Abyss is still here. When Chen Shang arrived at the city lord's mansion, Wu Keiming was also there. He asked Wu Keiming to show him how to get to the Yuming Deep Abyss. Wu Keiming took out a guide for him. Inside it were many cities and dangerous places. That Yuming Deep Abyss is very scary now. That place is very dangerous, you have to be careful. Wu Keiming said. Chen Shang nodded and then was teleported to the city closest to Yuming Deep Abyss. After walking out of the city, he used the space wind and quickly arrived beside the Yuming Deep Abyss. It has indeed become very frightening. Chen Shang never thought that the Yuming Deep Abyss would actually turn into a steaming abyss, and that he could even see the scene below it. The same place. I'm here. Chen Shang jumped down and immediately felt the scorching heat coming from below. When he reached the bottom, he was already somewhat unable to endure it, so he had no choice but to use the ice and snow constellation to resist the heat. Arriving at the bottom, he found it strange that the stones below had evolved to withstand such a high temperature. The coarse heat has been leaked. It must have come from that tunnel. When Chen Shang took out the fire dragon sword, all the heat in the place disappeared, causing him to be secretly pleasantly surprised. Although the fire dragon sword was not at the divine artifact level, it had this kind of ability, allowing him to walk around in the earth's core with ease. This is the passage. Chen Shang saw that the hole on the green dragon demon slain broadsword had been destroyed and it could no longer be opened. But that was fine, because he could use spatial travel to go through the door. He teleported to the passage. The passage was covered in a fiery red mist and was filled with a strange fire energy. It was so dense that tiny particles could be formed and floated inside the passage, causing the passage to be covered in red. In a place like the core, there's no doubt that it can give birth to living creatures or even powerful beasts. He had been to the Earth's core a few times, so he was well aware of how terrifying the energy of the Earth's core was. This was the energy source that maintained the flow of the entire Nine-Heaven world. Chapter 2098. Immediately thought of the super old fire beast. He looked at the passageway and immediately felt more at ease. The passageway was very narrow. Although the Nine-Heaven world has devoured the God's realm and the endless heaven realm, the core of the earth still hasn't grown much in size. However, its energy has become even stronger. Chen Shang walked forward with the fire dragon sword in his hand. Under the protection of the fire dragon sword, he did not sense any heat, but he knew clearly that if he did not have the fire dragon sword, he would not be able to continue right now. We can't continue any further. This place is already the limit. Chen Shang looked at the red light tunnel in front of him. However, under the protection of the mystical energy emitted by the fire dragon sword, he could still feel the scorching heat. Chen Shang took out his green dragon blade and fiercely stabbed it into the cave wall, creating a series of dang 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 sounds. However, the cave wall only had a few scratches on it, that was all. What's going on? Just now, Chen Shang had used his left hand to swing the sword. With the double bone level in his left hand, he had used quite a bit of strength to slash at the stone wall, but was unable to harm it. Chen Shang looked at the red granules that were floating in the cave and suddenly understood that the stone walls here had been absorbing so much powerful energy from this environment for many years. Furthermore, after being tempered by the powerful air pressure for a long time, it had become extremely sturdy. It seems like the Earth's core is extremely hard and indestructible. Chen Shang withdrew his azure dragon blade and activated the Six Realms power. The veins on his left arm bulged and with a loud shout, he punched the stone wall with his powerful fist. The explosion of the meteor Immortal power produced a loud explosion that reverberated through the passageway. The entire passageway trembled slightly earlier, but other than that, there was no other reaction. As expected, it is very sturdy. Chen Shang took a deep breath. The reason he conducted this test was so that he would be able to enter the time formation and feel a bit more at ease because he couldn't be disturbed like this. The energy here should be enough to operate all 4 formation discs. Because the passageway was too small, Chen Shang allowed these 4 formation discs to grow larger, so they couldn't grow much larger and could only sit on top of the formation discs by themselves. We can start now, Chen Shang said somewhat excitedly. If he could succeed, he could fight for 20 years. He activated the formation plate, and waves of white light flashed out. The red mist in the tunnel was quickly absorbed by the formation plate as it rushed towards the bottom of the formation plate. Not long after, a ball of white light was suspended above the array disc. Chen Shang felt that it was a bit uncomfortable because the array disc was too small, but he had no choice but to step on it. When he stepped onto it, a light flashed in front of his eyes. He actually came to a space surrounded by white light. This space was about the size of a room. Shenxian and the others are pretty strong, huh? There's actually a spatial formation inside these array discs. Chen Shang looked at the door of light that flashed on the white wall. That was the door to the time formation. He took out a pill furnace and then the bone-level Dan's ingredients. He planned to first try and see if he could condense bones to use on his left arm, and the double bone level that was condensed there would allow him to experience the benefits of bones. If other parts of his body also had bones, then it would make him even stronger. I'm just going to cultivate all 9 of my bones to the Supreme God level right now. Chen Shang was a little excited just thinking about it. His bones would become stronger as his divine deity increased, and then fuse with the powerful energy it was even more difficult to imagine. In just half a day's time, Chen Shang had already refined 18 bone-level dans, which were not difficult to refine. Previously, during the competition, he had used a very short period of time to refine 1 batch of bone-level dans, and it was even 6. Currently, he was only refining 3 batches of bone-level dan. After consuming it, he dispersed the medicinal energy within his body and began to control the medicinal energy to circulate through his entire body. He then waited for the opportunity to condense the pill to appear. It didn't succeed and the medicine scattered very quickly. What's going on? Chen Shang had previously eaten twice before, and every time, he had to refine it for half a day before using up all the medicinal power. But now, he had only used an hour. Remember Yulan and the others mentioned that they took 3 days to refine the bone-level dan. Could the stronger their body be, the shorter the refining time? Chen Shang surmised that he was not very sure if he had eaten yet another pellet. This time, he only used half of the last time to refine it faster than last time. What's going on? When Chen Shang refined the medicinal power, he did not sense any signs in his body, which meant that he had failed to condense the bones. He could only continue eating. The speed at which he refined the 18 pills was very fast. He could refine 4 of them in 2 hours. Right now, it was not even half a day and he had already refined 18 bone-level dan. It was completely useless. Looks like being unable to sustain the medicinal power for too long is not a good thing. It's not possible for it to exist in his body for too long as well. Chen Shang recalled how he had previously consumed 2 bone-level dan pellets. Is the bone-level dan not strong enough? Or is my body not strong enough? Chen Shang did not know because even he did not know whether Yang Tianyi had relied on eating a lot of medicinal ingredients to condense it. As Chen Shang thought about this question, he suddenly felt that the space was gradually weakening and the white light surrounding it disappeared. Right now, he was sitting cross-legged on top of the 4 overlapping formation discs. Chen Shang looked at the 2 sides of the passageway. Originally, there were many red particles floating around, but now, all of them had disappeared. I just stayed inside for a day, that's all. Chen Shang anxiously jumped down from the array disc. This time formation really consumes a lot of energy and absorbed all of the energy outside in one go. Chen Shang looked at the depths of the tunnel. This formation plate needs to be near the energy source to absorb it, right? It seems like there's still some distance between here and the center of the earth that the formation plate cannot absorb. Bring UAA here right now. This time, I need to get very close to the core of the earth. Chen Shang decided to let UAA enter the time formation with him. After all, UAA had a lot of experience and she was an existence equivalent to a noble, so she must have eaten high-ranking bone-level dans and condensed their bones before. Chapter 2099, Chen Shang returned from the core to the surface and returned to the Hundreds of Flowers village. He brought UAA here with him and did not need much time. Right now, he was in a rush because he could not afford to waste any time, especially outside. He did not need to be so nervous inside the time formation. UAA followed Chen Shang into the tunnel. Chen Shang asked, UAA, are you afraid of the heat? You're not afraid that my spatial barrier is relatively strong. The heat from the Earth's core should be able to resist the heat. If you use spatial barrier, wouldn't that be fine? Moon Child said. Chen Shang shook his head, my spatial protection is also very limited. UAA smiled tenderly, then I'll cover you but don't you fear going to the Earth's core like that. Although currently the 9 heaven worlds core hasn't reached its complete state, it won't be weak either. It's probably because of the cultivation of the earthly beast at this time. Earthly beast? Chen Shang asked in surprise, is it really that powerful? I'm not sure about the 9 heaven worlds earthly beast either. When 9 divine kings created this world, he had probably already set this up. It's hard to say whether it was aggressive or not. Let's go check it out first. With our escaping abilities, there's nothing to be afraid of. UAA didn't seem to be afraid at all as she flapped her wings and flew slowly through the tunnel. La 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 la. UAA hummed a cheerful melody, as if she was taking a leisurely stroll. UAA, does your Star Law Divine Realm also have a core? Chen Shang asked her earlier. Our Star Law Divine Realm is a planet with a core, but only the largest primary planet has earthly beast. I went there twice with my grandfather the first time, but when I went there, I couldn't take the heat any longer. After I got back, I rested for a month, UAA said. The second time was when I went to the central core of the core during the law enforcement assessment. It was very relaxing for me, but I didn't dare to go there. Although he had been here a few times, every time he had come, it would increase to a different degree. And this time, the increase in power was the greatest. Not long after, Chen Shang saw those fiery red granules slowly floating over from the tunnel in front. There were such granules everywhere, but they were all absorbed by the 4 formation plates. Coming, UAA immediately flew onto Chen Zhang's shoulder and released a spatial barrier. Chen Shang only felt a slight heat from it for a moment, and then, he did not sense it again. At this moment, he was already in the middle of the fiery red grain and the tunnel was once again filled with the fiery red glow of light. In this kind of place, neither Chen Shang nor UAA dared to use the space wind because there was an unknown danger in front of them. Chen Shang was in a hurry, so he quickened his pace and rushed through the tunnel. The tunnel continued downwards diagonally. Gradually, they entered the depths. After running madly for 4 hours, he finally arrived at the end of the tunnel. He stood at the end and looked down at the fiery red light. That was the depths of the Earth's core. Now, he could absorb the energy from the Earth's core from the formation plate inside the small hole. Chen Shang took out the formation plate and successfully activated it. He brought UAA and entered the formation plate. The energy absorbed by this array disk will be several times more than what a living creature absorbs. Seemed to be able to sense the energy being absorbed by the array disk. If another person were to enter, I'm afraid that would exceed the limits of the array disk. Chen Shang said. UAA, previously, when you condensed your bones, did you only rely on eating bone-level Dan? UAA nodded her head and replied, of course, even if you don't eat bone-level Dan, you can still condense them. But that doesn't mean anyone can do it. Only those with extremely high innate talent can do it. Chen Shang asked again, do you remember how long it took you to refine the bone-level Dan you ate when you condensed the bones? Roughly half a day's time. Whether the bone-level Dan is refined too fast or too slow, it will take around half a day to finish. UAA said, this refinement refers to the situation where my fastest refining speed is the slowest in an instant under the condition of natural refining. It took me a month's time, but even this cannot trigger the opportunity to condense a bone-level Dan. UAA's words confirmed Chen Zhang's previous guess. He asked, then how do we complete the natural refining state for around half a day? This is the reason why it is difficult to condense bones after eating bone-level Dan. The reason why refining pills is so fast is usually because the body and cultivation level are too strong and need to improve the quality of the bone-level Dan. As for the balance being too slow, it's because the body is not strong enough, so it will take a very long time to absorb all the medicinal energy in one go. So that's how it is. I understand now. Chen Shang immediately took out a portion of bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients. These are all low-grade medicinal ingredients. How long are you going to take one now? UAA asked. He can refine 4 pellets in 2 hours. Chen Shang said. He already had a way to solve the problem. Right now, you need a medial-grade bone-level Dan, and at the same time, you also need to strengthen your body to be able to control it for around half a day. UAA curiously asked Chen Shang when she saw him throw the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace, Chen Shang, do you have some kind of strange idea now? UAA had already seen Chen Zhang's refining skills before, and even though she was experienced and knowledgeable, she was still shocked by Chen Shang several times. This is a method of refining heavenly alchemy. My furnace's limit is to refine 6 bone-level Dan, but I have to compress it into 3, so I can condense the excess medicinal power into 1. This can improve the quality of bone-level Dan, Chen Shang said. In his current situation, it would take some time to produce a middle-tier bone-level Dan medicine. First, he would have to condense the elixir and increase the age of the herbs bit by bit. Right now, he did not have that much time, so he could only use the compressed medicinal energy to improve his quality. This was one of the methods in the heavenly alchemy. He had previously used this method to force out high-quality pills. I hope it's effective. If it doesn't work, you should just be more honest and use a normal method. Yue patiently watched the pill furnace as she laid on the ground. A normal method is not suitable for me. Chen Shang laughed and began to refine the pill. Chapter 2100. Chen Shang was refining the bone-level Dan now. Unlike before, he needed to suppress it in order to enhance the quality of the bone-level Dan, which was why he had taken a bit more time than before. Yue had never heard of such a method of refinement, especially for the sake of increasing the quality, but now that Chen Shang had concocted so few of them, she had no idea that it was possible for her to use such a method to refine bone-level Dan. Done. Chen Shang took out 3 milky white bone-level Dan pearls and leaned over to open her pair of cute cat eyes. It looks like the quality is quite high. It's really amazing. If you press it into a single grain, the quality will be even higher. Moonchild said in surprise. Let me give it a try first. Chen Shang ate 1 pellet and started refining it. After 4 hours, he finished refining it. It looks like I still need to be refined a bit more. Chen Shang put away the 2 bone-level danas in his hands, took out a portion of medicinal ingredients and said, I will directly press them into a single pellet. Right now, Chen Shang did not have a method to quickly condense divine deity, but there was a direction for him to quickly condense bones. Of course, he felt that 4 bones was not enough for him right now. He had no other choice, so he planned to first condense bones so that he could at least increase his strength and at the same time strengthen his physical body. If he still had time, he would do his best to condense divine deity to 6 bones. Chen Shang quickly finished refining the pill. This time, he had crushed the 6 bone-level Dan into a single pellet, which was already of extremely high quality among the shopping Dan. That was why when he opened the pellet furnace, it immediately burst out a bright light. This time, it should be enough, right? After taking it out, Chen Shang showed Yue the highest quality shopping bone-level Dan. Very good. If the Star Law Divine Realm can sell it, then this bone-level Dan should be able to sell it at a very high quality because it is very easy to reach a balance. If it is directly sold as a middle-quality bone-level Dan, then it will take a lot of time and effort to refine the body and the spirit of the bone-level Dan. Yue felt that it was very rare for Chen Shang to be able to control the quality of a high-quality divine pellet. After Chen Shang consumed it, he began to refine it. After Chen Shang refined the medicinal force, he opened his eyes. This pellet did not allow him to condense bones, but only by controlling the time that he had to refine the bone-level Dan would he have more opportunities to condense bones. Yue laughed. An alchemist like you are really frightening. You can really adjust the quality of medicinal pills according to your own circumstances. There are also alchemists in Star Law Divine Realm who do this, but it's not very successful. If you're lucky, about 10 of them should be able to condense bones, Yue said. However, after you condense bones this time, the next time won't be so easy. You'll need to adjust the quality of the bone-level Dan and you'll need to raise the strength of your body. Chen Shang nodded his head before starting to refine the pill again. After successfully refining the second pellet, he continued. When he went to receive Yue earlier, he had instructed her to duplicate as many of the bone-level Dan's medicinal ingredients as possible. LV Kilian had already passed down the alive slain method to many girls who were very familiar with Chen Shang, and they could all trust each other. It was not easy to condense bones, Chen Shang was clear on that point. Then Yang Tianyi had to spend a lot of time eating medicinal ingredients and vomiting to condense 3 pellets, thus Chen Shang was mentally prepared as well. The 3rd pellet still did not succeed in the 4th, 5th, 6th until the 7th pill. Chen Shang suddenly felt some pain in his eyes. What's going on? There's actually pain in the eyes. This should be a sign of an opportunity, but why would it be in the eyes? When Chen Zhang's left arm condensed bones, there was a slight pain. That was an opportunity. If it were the eyes, they would inevitably suffer a bit. And the pain they would suffer would definitely be much worse than cheating. Yue saw Chen Shang frown and ask in a low voice, are they coming? I'm not sure because I feel a little pain in my eyes, Chen Shang said. As the bones in my eyes. Of course, eyes are also part of the body. In short, if there's an opportunity, don't give up. Once you give up, it'll be even more difficult to appear next time. Yu was also very surprised. It actually appeared in her eyes. Gather all of your physical strength into your eyes, although it's painful, just endure it. You should be familiar with her from the past, right? Moonchild said. Chen Shang gritted his teeth and started to channel all his strength into his eyes to condense his bones. He was also very curious about what would happen if his eyes could condense bones, and if he were to focus on his limbs to attack, his punches and kicks would definitely be able to create a very powerful force. Yue was also thinking about this question. In the past, she had only heard from the elders about the condensed bones of those people. She also did not know how the strength of the bones was used, nor did she know how those elders had raised it. A's face was pale from the pain, but he still clenched his teeth and did not make a sound. As long as I can endure it. All these years of his cultivation had been this long and painful every time he had to endure. But he had never backed down from it. Ah! Chen Shang finally roared out in pain. In the past 2 days, the pain on Chen Zhang's head had gradually subsided. At this moment, his eyes were emitting white rays of light. It's really tortuous. The white light around Chen Zhang's eyes disappeared, and his eyes returned to normal. He wiped away the blood tears on his face. How is it? Yue asked. What kind of power can bones allow you to obtain? It's really strange that both eyes of mine have a bones inside. Bones should be inside the bones. Why is it inside the eyes this time? Chen Shang also felt it was inconceivable. Actually, this is within the skull of the eye sockets of these two places are considered more useful parts of the human body, so the condensed bones are in the eyes of this belongs to a special part, but only a few people have this part of your special the double bone level has actually appeared twice. Isn't that equivalent to having 4 bones? Yue was more surprised because Chen Shang had condensed 2 bones each time. And that Yang Tianyi had spent so many years imprisoned in the star hell only managed to condense 3 profound energies. If he knew that Chen Shang was so quick, the 4 bones would have definitely caused him to faint.